You're listening to W. You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
And of course, let me say a special hello to all the WZYE 95.9 FM listeners. Yes, people. It's in the village with the Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. And of course, you know we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. That's Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. And folks, I just want you all to see it. I have one of the Soca Warriors show tonight. We red and ready. Soca Warriors, boy. Soca Warriors all the way. Let me bring in one third of the dark triplets. I always see she laughing already. You have one the Soca Warriors show. Hey! Look what's that there.
Our red comb.
A red comb. What the hell is this, boy? Yeah, boy. You have a red comb. You see the Soca Warriors, boy. Soca Warriors beat Monster at 6-1, boy.
Yes, man. Yes.
6-1. We making joke. This wrong, you know. And the Steve, boy. Licks. Steve, boy, is a boss. Yeah. Licks in this place, boys. Licks for so. Steve Trini Lopez, welcome. And you know, we had a fella, Anthony Medford, log on at 5:59 years, boy.
What?
He wanted to beat everybody. Anthony, I don't know where you are right now, but come back.
You Usain Bolt today?
Yeah. The man log on at 5:59, boy.
Early, bright and early.
The man
he can't be a Trini. He on time.
I know that fella name, boy. Seriously, I know that fella name.
He can't be a Trini. He on time.
Yeah. Well, he could be a Tobago, you know. Them Tobago people. Yeah, they see he come back. He say, right here. The man ain't going nowhere, but what? Anthony, you know, we had to give you the WZYE award. You the first man since we went in this program to log on at 5:59, boy. I got a trophy for you, man.
Yes.
Man says Medford says he's a born genius. Hey, Medford, where you from again, boy? I know a fella by the name of that last name, Medford.
You know everybody. Oh gosh.
Yeah. I wonder if you see, like, remember Ulrich saying from Chumakak, right?
Yeah, you like the census taker. You know everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy.
Good evening, family. Good evening. And Butty, congratulations on getting your job, partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
Yeah, wait. You take a vaccine?
But you ain't see the video?
No.
You know that Bajan record.
Yeah. Hey, watch it. Leave Barbados out of this.
But, hey, listen, Prasad, welcome as well. A pleasant welcome to you. Diana,
yeah.
I do a video starting the process from when I start.
But you ain't send it to me, so I don't know. Yeah, you see, you're discriminating.
For me, all of you on the same Facebook, all of you on the same WhatsApp.
We have one common thread. Of course, the Storm so busy matching up Barbados, she had time for that.
Hey, watch it. Elsa.
She ravaging Barbados, boy.
Mia, you will see how much you and Mia is after this.
Yeah, what's your name? Elsa. Let it go.
The girl taking roof and all kind of thing with you know.
Yeah, boy. But Mia responded though. They had a brief, they had a small fire at Grand Adams International Airport, electrical fire, but that's under control. I listened to the media briefing today. Some roofs got blown off from this storm and the last freak storm they had. And, the Honorable Prime Minister responded, promptly. She not like we boy, you know who.
Who, the puppet master?
You know, she taking care of she people. So the things are under control. Apparently, the airport will be shut down, and they're going to be rebooting the system, and they're going to come back online tomorrow by 11 a.m. They should be open. That was the last thing I heard.
Wave me Diana Benskin. I can't take you shaking underhand shot at our Prime Minister.
Hey, he's my Prime Minister too. He's my Prime Minister too.
For me, we can't allow that, you know. Our Prime Minister giving out grants.
Where? Who?
Country.
Who? Which one? Who? Where? And why they calling me for help?
Oh.
Nobody giving. They're giving out grants.
Yeah, what kind of grant?
They're giving out hampers to her. But yeah, okay. Yeah, this one, I wonder if I should call the person. I ain't gonna call the person name, But someone from 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗽𝗽 sent me a message, Fitzgerald Hines, you don't want me to go back to calling you Fitzgerald Hines,
Where is he though?
But let me deviate. I just deviate plenty. I just go all over the place, I like Batchak. I just run all over the place. You know, Batchak don't stay one place.
But you're not Batchak. You are Red Ants.
Yeah. What is that one, Tommy, boy?
She had to
explain. Explain, please.
Let me go here. Explain that one, please, Miss.
You don't Red Ants. You not a Batchak. You too brown to be a Batchak. You are Red Ants.
A Red Ants. What's the difference? A Batchak does bite and a Batchak does no.
But Red Ants just bite hard and he's small and he fast.
No, a Red Ants just be running all over the place.
Like you.
Oh, that is what it is.
Maybe you're taking some good shots today, girl.
Taking some elite shots today, boy. Yeah, boy. What is that one? Let me see what you have in your cup there. What you have in your cup?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I have agua.
Okay.
Oh, you see what I tell you? I know, you know. You see? So she make me deviate from what I was talking about to talk about Red Ants.
Those clear drinks are more dangerous than the one with color in it.
Oh.
Yeah. But let me say this quicker. Somebody sent me a message, Passad, good evening. And Cindy's already in the house, one of the youth ambassadors. Somebody sent me a message, and they say, Butty boy, because I just call him up in 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗽𝗽, Butty. The person said, Butty, you know, the counselor from my area come up here and she only come with 20 hampers.
My goodness.
Some of the hampers don't even have sugar or flour in it. And they come up in 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗽𝗽 to give people that, boy. Why are they so wicked, boy?
Easy.
That's why they don't give people nothing.
You take your vaccine easy.
Only come in with hamper and no flour, no sugar, no rice or nothing in it. What am I telling you?
No, they don't want them to get diabetes.
Okay.
But wait now, ain't they opening McDonald's and KFC tomorrow?
My bad. But let me say this, I'm doing something about that. We'll hear news later on Thursday.
Okay.
I want people to stay tuned. We have breaking news coming up from here with respect to that. I personally will deal with that.
Yep.
I will deal with that. Right? Because all your them people and them only supposed to have 500 hampers up in 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗽𝗽.
Yep.
And if only they want to have 5 hampers, there's 52 families in the buildings in 𝗪𝗪𝘀𝗽𝗽. Only supposed to get each one of them a full hamper with rice, sugar, flour, and everything in it.
That's right.
Everything. Look, all
calm down.
All right. Let me calm down. Because the youth ambassadors them come in, and I have to calm myself. So listen, guys, we're gonna try something new tonight. When the youth ambassadors come in, I'm gonna try to put you guys in the background. You guys will still hear, right? But I want both of them up on the screen.
Okay.
So but we're gonna try,
Okay, before you go, I just have 2 tidbits I wanted to share with the listening audience too, since we cut for time. Canada's Prime Minister is not allowing vaccinated Americans to enter Canada. His reason for he gave, while the vaccine may prevent a vaccinated person from becoming seriously ill, he's not sure that it prevents the vaccinated from infecting the unvaccinated or partially vaccinated. Okay.
So what about Canadians who get vaccinated?
Well, I don't know. Biden have to deal with that, but as Trudeau's stance. I like to read, so I just want to bring information other than what's going on in the Caribbean for what thing. I was reading and I came across this thing where it says Alaska is experiencing an extreme heat wave, and it triggered an ice quake. I never heard of an ice quake. You ever heard of an ice quake, Anselm? And that registered 2.7. And this type of quake is called a cryoseism. And over in Asia, Asia's 2 biggest superpowers, India and China, have deployed tens of thousands of troops and heavy artillery to the border region, which overlaps Kashmir and Tibet, a key strategic area that is home to several critical rivers that supply vast amount of water flow to both countries. What sparked the tension, according to Newsweek, a skirmish between the 2 nuclear-armed neighbors last June. So China and India are poised to be at war. So we got to keep an eye on what's going on over there. In that region, and just to segue into who's coming up, I saw a story where they said that it's circulating where Dr. Rowley is no longer the head of CARICOM. CARICOM youth ambassadors can clarify that for us.
Okay. Yeah, his time is up. So let me do this. Let me remove you from this stream. Let me remove myself from this stream as well. I'm gonna add me back to this stream. Let me remove Tommy. Let me remove reading stream and put you in the background. Right. Let me add now the 2 CARICOM ambassadors. Let me add Kijon Dinoon. Kijon, welcome. And let me add Cindy Andrews to the stream as well. And let me try something, guys. Let me remove myself from the screen so I could put you guys. So are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you very clearly.
All right. So yeah, I was trying to just keep both of you on the stream with me in the background, because you guys are the focus of the interview, and I want to be in the background. Just, I wanted to see you beautiful people from Tobago, on the stream. So Diana and Tommy, you guys can still chip in, but you guys are just in the background, okay? All right. So let me say welcome to Kijon. Did I get that right?
Keegan.
And we have with us Cindy Andrews. So let me just give you guys a little background. Keegan is a visionary servant leader who is currently the youngest member of the People's National Movement Tobago Council Executive and the current program administrator in the Division of Finance and Economy. Right. Keegan served as regional representative, vice president Tobago Affairs, vice president International Affairs and Partnership, and is currently the first national president from Trinidad and Tobago youth ambassador. Right. And let me see what else we have here. Okay. Where is that one, boy? Okay, and you know what we will do? Oh, here we go. Cindy Andrews is the Deputy CARICOM Youth Ambassador Tobago, is a UWI Open Scholarship Awardee and a graduate of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus with a BS in psychology special. As a youth leader and advocate, Cindy works closely with SDG 4 Quality Education, 5 Gender. As a former National Youth Parliamentarian, Ms. Andrews has served in several portfolios in youth and community advocacy and activism for approximately 10 years. Hailing from the sister Isle of Tobago, Ms. Andrews holds the portfolio President of Bell Garden Youth Club and is Director and co-founder of a foundation. Cindy also serves as Deputy COO of Youth Votes Matters and Public Relations Officers of Seawell TT. So folks, there we have it. We have two CARICOM youth ambassadors. Welcome to In the Village with the Dark Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. How are you guys doing today?
Well, I'll allow Cindy to go first. So.
Thank you for having us. I'm good. I'm very excited to be on your program along with my colleague, Mr. Tunein. So we're very excited to share with you what we have in store for this week as we commemorate 48 years in CARICOM tomorrow on July
4th. Cindy, is it possible your mic is somewhat low? Is it somehow we can turn it up? Because I wasn't hearing you that well.
Okay, no problem. Let me leave and come back and that fixes the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. All right.
Well, in the meantime, I would introduce myself. Good evening.
Go ahead.
And thank you for having us, CARICOM Youth Ambassadors for Trinidad and Tobago. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. Let me say a special good evening to your listenership, but an even more special good evening to the Caribbean diaspora, especially those from Trinidad and Tobago. As Cindy would have alluded to, we are celebrating CARICOM Day coming up this week in July 4th. And it is indeed a memorable occasion, for us, for the union of CARICOM and what it stands for. I mean, the Caribbean diaspora has so many things in common that CARICOM is so important, and we believe that integration within CARICOM is something that we can really monetize so that each individual within the CARICOM member states can benefit significantly from such a relationship.
Okay, Cindy, you are back with us. You want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so good evening again, everyone. Is the audio better now?
You know what? Don't worry about it. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with it. That's good enough.
So I am Cindy Andrews, one of the Deputy CARICOM Youth Ambassadors for Trinidad and Tobago. Our team comprises of 4 persons, inclusive of myself, my fellow deputy, Mr. 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪, and then we have our 2 spokespersons, Mr. Keegan Denoon and Ms. Renee Atwell. And Ms. Renee Atwell is also the Dean of the CARICOM Youth Ambassadors for the next year. So we're very excited to be working with each other in order to advance and develop that CYA Corps in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as across the region with our brothers and sisters in CARICOM.
No, both of you all are from Tobago, right? Is that correct? Yes. Well, anytime people come into the village, Diana Waverly Benskin has got upset with me, right? Because my father is from Roxburgh, Tobago, right? And my father's name is Shaki. So anytime I come to Trinidad, I gotta come to Tobago. So Tobago is a great part of me, and I love Tobago very, 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 very much. So tell the listening audience, how did you guys become part of this CARICOM? How did you guys become a CARICOM Youth Ambassador? What's the process?
Well, to become a CARICOM Youth Ambassador, you have to first apply for the position. You're interviewed by a panel, and then based on your interview, you are selected. But that background has to be one of youth work, youth advocacy, and youth development in this space. That is one that gives you the opportunity to even be a member to apply for the position. You see, the Caribbean Community is a regional intergovernmental organization consisting of 15 member states, right? And that was established in 1993. So the CYA program, CARICOM Youth Ambassadors Program, acts as a regional network of Caribbean young people and provides a platform for youth participation. So you apply, and the screening committee screens you, and then based on if you are successful or not, you become the CARICOM Youth Ambassador. 2 are chosen from each member state. In Trinidad and Tobago, as Cindy would have alluded to, myself and Ms. Renee as well, along with the 2 deputy CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, Cindy Andrews and Mr. 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗪. So we have been working assiduously to ensure that we achieve all the goals that we set out, and that we are part of the movement of Caribbean integration.
You want to add anything, Cindy?
Yes. In addition to that, I think for me, one of these things that really motivated me to apply for this position was the opportunity to serve and connect on a regional level. As Keegan would have alluded to, your background in community and youth service has to be one that has been very active and very impactful in order for you to be considered for the portfolio. And I think once you have committed yourself to serve, we encourage and we invite persons, because what happens is your service period is about 2 years, 2 to 3. You have the opportunity to have your period extended for an additional year based on the current socioeconomic climate. So what we hope to do is raise awareness and encourage as many persons as possible to become involved and aware with what CYA does and the opportunities it has for them in terms of advocacy on a regional level. Because what we also do is work to ensure that we educate and raise awareness and also provide some form of advice and support to the governmental structures in terms of policy making and reform. So that is one of the key factors of being a CARICOM ambassador that appealed to us because of the type of work that we have done in our various countries.
So is it a one-term position, or you can reapply after your period expires?
No, it's a one-term position, and you have to apply for it before you are the age of 25. And however, after you are finished, the process begins again after the 2 or 3 year term, and somebody else takes your position and takes up from the work that you would have been doing. So it's not a position that you can hold on to. It's a position that you come into, you do as much work as you can, and you set a firm foundation for the person that comes behind you.
Let me do this. Let me add Diana back to this. Let me add Diana. I'm gonna add Diana. Diana, I just added you back, and let me add in Tommy. And what I'll do, I'll just go in between each and every one, so at least everybody's on the screen. So Diana and Tommy, if you guys have any questions, you guys can go ahead.
Sure, I have a question. How are you going, lady and gentlemen? Nice to have you here on the program. I'm very passionate about youth, passionate about women and girls, and taking responsibility for your country. Because when all is said and done, that is your home. That is, that's where you were born, and you have to show pride, in your country, national pride. How do you get young people who may be disillusioned with what is going on now to get on board with your agenda and hope for the best?
Well, we have started a media campaign. Right now we're doing a media tour in celebration of CARICOM Day. And we have a week of activities. Cindy would mention the week of activities that we have laid out before us. We even have CARICOM Carnival this evening that starts at 8 p.m. All of you are invited to log on to the session. We would give you the necessary information a little later on in the presentation. However, to get anyone involved, you have to show them the benefits of what they're getting involved in. And that is where we come in, to advocate and to show young people the benefits of CARICOM and the benefits of the CSME certificate that you can apply for. You see, to show young people that even being a Tobagonian, you could leave Tobago and go and work in any one of the CARICOM member states, or you could do intra-regional trade, have your products here and sell them on the shelves in Antigua, or sell them on the shelves in Barbados. You could even bring it home to the situation that we have right now with the coronavirus pandemic. We are grateful for the CARICOM member states because we see that those who have excess vaccines are now sharing with their other CARICOM member states. And even during the hurricane season or during disasters, we see each CARICOM member state stepping in and doing their part. So when you show young people the benefits of CARICOM, that is where they will get on board and see that they want to be a part of something. So in order to get their involvement, you have to show them the benefit. And that is what we have been doing through our advocating and through our media tours that we are currently embarking on.
And if I could add to what Keegan is saying, it is more than just letting them buy into what we have identified as the agenda. It is actually helping them to connect with some of the experiences that affect others around them, or others in similar spaces that they have not identified as having a significant impact on them because they are not experiencing it. Because in addition to advocating and providing information and raising awareness on the importance of CSME and interregional trade, we also advocate on issues such as HIV and AIDS awareness, as well as other social issues in terms of crime and poverty. We also do work within those various areas. So it's helping persons to see the impact and how important their voice is in the process of solutions within creating that Caribbean identity and in creating that whole Caribbean roadmap and that integrated network to solutions. Because as Keegan would have said, we have similar experiences. We are connected by our history. Some of our cultural beliefs and practices are similar. So sometimes the solutions that we can adopt and apply across the Caribbean can be connected and would be better, more implemented when we work together.
Tommy?
Yes, I'm encouraged by the way, I'm Tommy, and I have to say good evening to you first. I'm encouraged by the youth involvement in the Caribbean unity movement as I see it, because I see this as a movement of unity with the CARICOM. And I also see that the currency business is changing. And has there been any discussion about getting even if it's a cryptocurrency, something that would be used as a common Caribbean dollar or something of sorts, or at any given point, had this ever come up, or is this something that's being considered at all by the youth as something for the future with CARICOM?
To answer that question, as far as I am aware, there has been no necessary discussions to have a one Caribbean currency at this time. I'm not quite sure if that conversation will happen in any near future. However, the conversation that we are having right now has to do with a partnership that especially us as CARICOM Youth Ambassadors are forming with MyCaribbean. That is a website where we intend to link all Caribbean countries together. And on this platform, you can now purchase goods and services from anyone in any Caribbean island. You can now book your vacation via this medium. You could procure services like electricians or taxi service and stuff like that. So that is our first step in the movement of integrating the entire Caribbean via this online medium of MyCaribbean. And here we would be using the common US dollar, and all the currencies would be in US, and you would be receiving US in terms of your purchases. So that is the first step in the movement towards integrating the Caribbean. But as it pertains to answering your question of one currency, that is a conversation that may happen in the future, but that is a conversation I must agree that would probably shed some light and work closer to bringing the Caribbean together and promote that integration that we so much seeking at this moment.
Appreciate you.
You want to add anything, Cindy?
No, I was actually going to highlight that partnership, but Keegan would have summarized it exceedingly well. I think what we can do, especially with this network, is help provide a lot of small businesses that do not have the access or the technical support and resources to develop online websites or even have that online banking system done on their own to be able to access the global market. And this is something that we are very, very excited to be working on, especially given the current dependency on the tourism network for a lot of countries to generate that revenue. And we think that what it also does is provide marketing for a lot of the Caribbean countries in terms of different types of business opportunities that are present and different types of businesses that are there. And it also helps the young persons to build their professional and ethical skills. So it's a multifaceted project that we will be working on, and we are so excited to see it unfold in the upcoming months.
So as a CARICOM ambassador, right? Your goals and objectives is for the CARICOM. Being that you guys are from Tobago, right? Is there any particular goal in what's trying to accomplish that benefits Tobago? Is there any particular interest? Because you've coming from a Tobago perspective, even though it's CARICOM, right? Other islands, other Caribbean islands may have some things that Tobago don't have, and these things can benefit Tobago. Is there any things that basically you guys will put on the table that will definitely benefit Tobago?
Yes, there are a lot of things that we have been working on and a lot of partnerships that we have been forming that would significantly benefit Tobago. Currently, the conversation on the board at the moment is for Tobago to have its own carnival where we can invite the wider Caribbean to come and enjoy that festivities there in Tobago. In addition to that, we have something called the Heritage Festival that most people would know about, but there is going to be that populace that is unaware of the Heritage Festival in terms of promoting that. In addition to that, through the tourism sector, currently we have embarked on a program to advertise all the resources that we have and invite people to come and enjoy the culture that we have here. Because in Tobago, the culture has been preserved so well that when people come, they are so surprised to see that we still practice washing by the river. We still practice dancing the cocoa and teaching our children and teaching the younger generation about that history and that rich heritage that we are so proud of. So that is something that we are passionate about. In addition to that, we are aware as CARICOM Youth Ambassadors of the movement and the advancement of women in society. And we are also recognizing that the men are being left behind. And so we have tabled a number of ideas and projects to enable the young men to now catch up and to be on the same par with the young ladies who have been motivated for so many years to advance and to also provide that sense of motivation for the young men in our society. So that is something that we are passionate about in terms of advancing the young men and also advancing the young women, because together we can do so much, but alone we can do so little. So no man gets left behind, especially in that program that we have embarked upon.
I have a question.
Dana, 1
With
minute.
Go
Dana,
ahead.
before you go, let's see if Cindy wants to add anything to it. Hold your thought, Dana. Cindy, you want
Go
to
ahead.
add anything?
In terms of some of the behind the scenes projects that we are working on, we really want to work on that whole climate change aspect. I think that Tobago provides us with a unique opportunity to develop a lot of global eco-friendly solutions, especially with some of the eco-hub businesses that we have. I personally would have worked with Leaf, and they are specifically geared towards ensuring that businesses can create sustainable, eco-friendly methods in order to assist the development of the society, as well as the recycling waste logistics plants in Tobago, which exports a lot of plastic bottles across the globe. And this is something that I would have seen firsthand in terms of going to Asia, North America, South America, really getting persons on board in that climate change, eco-friendly, sustainable practice so that we could help preserve the green economy that we have here in Tobago. So that is something that I'm extremely excited for us to continue to partner and push so that we could really develop our resources and also hone in on that clean, green, safe, and serene identity that we would have.
That's real. Go ahead, Dana.
Okay. With everything that's going on now, as far as the talk for autonomy, all the things you guys talk about to me seems to require finance, right? Do you find that you are incurring any sort of financial hiccups or handicap to propel your ideas and your platform and agendas forward? Are you getting any subtle or blatant hiccups from the powers that be to stall your progress?
No, I would, before Tegan jumps in, I know he answers first, so let me switch it up a bit. At this point in time, we actually have a very strong support system and network from the persons that we work with in terms of institutionally. We would have been able to unofficially and officially secure partnerships with various stakeholders across the board, which would have limited any cost that we would have had. As easy as launching this project, we would have volunteers from across Trinidad and Tobago volunteering their skill, their time, and service to ensure that our initiatives are successful. And what this really speaks to is that collectivistic mindset and attitude that Caribbean people have once they see the benefit, as Keegan would have said, in the work that we are doing. So institutionally, we are supported as well as within the various communities. Once persons are aware of what is happening, we do have that support. So at this time, financially, it has not affected our ability to produce and produce at a quality. So that's something that I'm very, very happy.
You want to add anything, Keegan?
No, Cindy wrapped it up very, very nicely. In addition to that, because we are CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, we function under the line ministry of the Ministry of Youth and National Service. In addition to that, we have a meeting in the upcoming weeks with the minister to discuss our agenda, funding, the way forward, and stuff like that. So, as CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, you are directly the link between the ministry, the youth within the region, and the youth in Trinidad and Tobago. And so, as she rightfully said, we are not promoting that dependency on the government, but we more so seek to find our own financiers, look for sponsors. And what we have recognized is that that spirit of volunteerism, though we may think it is dead, it is still alive, and people are so willing to volunteer and chip in and give their part and do their human service to something that they believe in. And a lot of people believe in CARICOM, and a lot of the people believe in the integration of CARICOM and the way forward. So we have seen significant support, and we look forward to even having your support as we move forward in this journey of CARICOM and integration in the member states.
So Keegan and Cindy,
Sandy.
does you are the ambassadors for both Trinidad and Tobago? The CARICOM youth as ambassadors for both Trinidad and Tobago, right? So Trinidad doesn't have separate youth ambassadors.
Okay, so let me explain. So what happens is that two CARICOM youth ambassadors are appointed, one from Tobago and one from Trinidad. So I am the one from Tobago. There's a deputy, Miss Cindy Andrews in Tobago, and one from Trinidad, Miss Renee Athwell, and her deputy, Mr. Kalim Ali. Together, we form the CARICOM Secretariat for Trinidad and Tobago. So there's no division. We function as one union. We plan all our programs together and see how best we can integrate both islands. And so far, it has been working exceedingly well, especially with the virtual space and platform that we use. And so there is no division. There is but unity among us.
Okay, so I was just trying to find out because I think a good idea is that if we have you guys out to Tobago, that we could actually have the ambassadors from Trinidad as well, to find out what they are doing. So I was just under the impression that there will be an application for both Trinidad and Tobago, and that Tobago come out on top, as Tobago come out on top many times in this situation.
Oh no.
So let me give you some history. So long ago, within the CARICOM Youth Ambassadors program, we used to have one CARICOM Youth Ambassador, which usually came from Trinidad. And through a lot of advocating, especially with Minister Shamfor Kaju back in her time, they would have obliged and allowed us to have two CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, one from Tobago and one from Trinidad, to ensure that Tobago is not left out.
So this sounds something like autonomy, but it happened. Keegan don't want to laugh, Keegan look like he want to laugh. Keegan said, let me stay serious. Keegan said, I'm touching that one, boy. That's okay. That's okay. No, but you know what's so impressive? Tobago is an island of 60,000 people, right? And somehow there's the impression that Tobago doesn't have impressive young people like you in Tobago that's actually trying to change the world. Because the thing that you guys are talking about is changing the world. And I mean, I am so proud when I hear young people like you, speaking on these issues. The issues that not just affect Trinidad and Tobago, it affects CARICOM as well, and it affects the world as well. So I'm very impressed that you, Keegan and Cindy, coming out of small Tobago of 60,000 people, that you could discuss the things that you guys doing so fluently, without even without even any hiccup. So I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed, and I want you guys to continue, to do this work. So, do you guys ever leave Trinidad, Tobago, and have to go to other islands in order to have discussions with certain things or certain ideas?
Now, normally, outside of the global pandemic, we would have had opportunities to represent and advocate at various conferences across the region on various topics aligned to thematic areas. We probably would have been attending conferences with PAHO to discuss HIV and AIDS and charting the way forward into these other organizations or information from consultations within our country on how we could advance and continue to support the movement within those various topical areas. But because of the pandemic, travel has been restricted, so a lot of our work continues to be done in this online space, which allows us to reach a lot of persons even more. However, we are mindful that we still have a lot of persons that don't have access to internet, who may not be able to consistently access the material or the media available. So that is something that we are trying to work on, ensuring that we have a comprehensive strategy in our outreach and engagement program. So currently, we have based all our advocacy, all our engagement within the online space, and we have continued to expand on it. So we are collaborating with Trinidad Youth Council, the Tobago Youth Council organizations within the various states that are aligned to the thematic areas that have been identified in our framework to ensure that we continue to reach. But unfortunately, we aren't traveling, but we do hope that as the vaccination plan continues to roll out across the Caribbean, that we will be able to actually meet with the various youth ambassadors across the Caribbean so that we could connect and actually have that one. Because we have a good online vibe going, but sometimes, as trainers, we like to we like to bring a team together, sit down and all talk. So we do hope to also integrate that into our journey before we wrap our tenure. But now we safe, we home, we wearing a mask, washing our hands, and we log it in to all the sessions that they have.
You want to add anything, Keegan?
No, again, my Cindy as Deputy Curriculum Youth Ambassador wrapped it up very, very well. And so I don't have anything else to add on that topic at the moment.
Now, here's my question, right? I have a question. Now, what are 3 important things that you guys think that you have accomplished since you have been, in this position? 3 important things that you can think you accomplished. Cindy, I can start with you since you're the deputy person. What are 3 important things you think that you guys have accomplished, over the past year or so?
Well, it will be a year. So one of the things we would have accomplished is increased awareness. We would have realized that a lot of persons are not familiar with the CYFP program, the Curriculum Youth Ambassador program in Trinidad and Tobago. You often only see one person present representing the Twin Island Republic. So what we have done is ensure that we increase visibility and understanding of what the program does and the opportunities for engagement and advocacy that it offers, not only to the persons within the portfolios, but as well as the other organizations that we have partnered. So we have 1, increased awareness and visibility. 2, increase and ensure that we build strong networks because we cannot do this alone. This is not a 4-person show. As much as we have been able to accomplish a lot, we understand the importance of community, and that's where this whole idea of curriculum comes back into play. The importance of community and integration in terms of charting forward and being able to provide sustainable solutions and strategies for the various issues. So 1, increase awareness and visibility. 2, expanding and creating strong sustainable networks. And 3, we would have implemented a very, very, very solid, based on the foundation laid first by the former ambassadors, action plan framework that we will be rolling out within our final year. So we will be back. Hopefully you'll have us again so that we can actually show you a lot of the things that we would have been able to do. Because within our first year, what we would have done is ensure that we understood and we dived into ensuring that this framework, because we would have had to adapt. What we would have used before and what we can do now is totally completely different because of the various elements that we now have to face in regards to ensuring that we protect ourselves and protect the people that we want to help given the COVID-19 pandemic. So we would have had to revisit our strategy. We would have to revisit the plan and ensure that it is reflective of what we want to do, but also does not put ourselves and persons that we want to help at risk. So those would be my 3 things. Keegan?
Cindy, I can see, before we get to Keegan, Cindy, I can see why you are the UE Open Scholarship awardee. I can see. That's okay, you can smile. I can see why you are. So, Keegan, you want to add anything?
Again, Cindy would have wrapped it up very, very well. In addition to what she would have said, yes, we would have formed stronger partnerships, especially with the ministry that we are under. When we got into being CARICOM youth ambassadors, when we were appointed, you basically were thrown into an environment where you had to captain your own ship. There was nobody to tell you what to do. You had to literally develop your own programs. And so what we have done is set a framework for the following CARICOM youth ambassadors to follow when they come in and when we hand over the term of office. In addition to that, we would have also strengthened our relationships with the Trinidad Youth Council and also the Tobago Youth Council in terms of ensuring that we are all, as young people, as youth leaders, on the same page and moving in the same direction. For far too long, we would have seen that disjointedness among youth organizations, and that is something that we want to bring to an end. For, as I said prior, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And we have also continued advocating for the youth voice in Trinidad and Tobago to ensure that not only that youth have a voice, but youth have a meaningful voice, one that they can contribute not only to policies and bills, but contribute to the development in our society. So we would have, as CARICOM Youth Ambassadors, we would have been part of the integral youth bill that was previously developed. We were asked to give contributions, and we were consulted. And in addition to that, we are also focusing on the model that Anguilla has, where young people serve at every level in the society, especially on state boards and stuff like that. So that is something that we would be advocating for, to ensure that when we leave our term of office, the legacy that we leave behind would be even greater than the legacy that we took over from the previous CARICOM youth ambassadors, and pave a smoother path for the CARICOM youth ambassadors that come after us to walk upon.
Now, Keegan, I can see why you have a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Master's of Business Administration with specialization in healthcare. Only from Tobago. Tobago ain't easy, though. Tobago not eating nice at all. Diane or Tommy, you guys have any questions?
No, I like to see my youth. Go ahead, thanks.
And
Yes.
in terms of that whole integration movement, we would have also been invited to sit on that board to consult and also implement the integration of the youth councils in Trinidad and Tobago, so we could have a national council. So that is also a project that we have been streamlining. We have been going to the sessions. We have been strategizing, as Keegan said, how we could ensure that we have a practical, effective model for representation on a national level as well for the youth voices, to ensure that we are all on the same page, to ensure that we are inclusive and practical in our solution and our adaptation of certain goals and plans.
Tommy, you wanted to say something?
I was asking our youth if they were pleased with the level of cooperation as that the CYA gets with the CARICOM board itself.
Well, being a CARICOM youth ambassador, you are part of the CARICOM secretariat, where all the member states are part of, all the other CARICOM youth ambassadors, under the guidance of Ms. Michelle, who develops programs and helps us along the way. So yes, the engagement is very, very meaningful. The support is meaningful as well. And so I am quite pleased. However, I must note that as CARICOM youth ambassadors, the support that you get is not as important as the work that you have to do, because you are on a platform, or you are given a title where you are able to be as creative and innovative as you can be, especially listening to what the young people actually want. So you have to have a ear to the ground to see what the young people want and see how best you can strategize and implement the necessary framework to ensure that they get the best made opportunities available to them that you can give, or that you can be the bridge between the ministry or the division to bring that meaningful engagement to them, so that at the end of the day, your title is not just your title, but would be based on the work that you would have done and the contributions that you would have made to youth development in this space.
Cindy?
I think Keegan would have really shed light on what is most important to us. Yes, having this support is important, but what this team has learned is that our ability to produce based on our internal skills, and when I say internal skills, the skills that we all bring to the table, because we have Renee, who is an attorney at law, we have Keegan, who has a myriad of accolades that we can pull from. We call him, that's our go-to man, you know. If we want something done and we find it sticking, Keegan is the man to go to. We have in terms of logistics and operating. I find myself operating with Renee in that supporting role, and I have my background in psychology as well as credit union management. So I also dabble in the financial sector to some extent. And then we have Salim, who is very, very, very extensive in his youth and community advocacy work, and he also just graduated with his BSc in law. So we pull all our academic, personal, and professional skills together. We find that we have a very strong framework to be able to reach and connect across the different groups that we have to advocate for, as well as the different perspectives that we have. So yes, having that institutional support is important, but the support and the fact that we could count on each other to execute and produce impactful and positive results with distinction is something that I would always take away from this experience as a CYA.
Well,
Wow.
I tell you, I tell you, you can say that again. So it's so. Go ahead, Diana.
This is I see nothing but brilliance in your futures. You know,
Correctly right.
anything you two guys want to dabble in, please
Yeah.
go ahead. You have my vote. Okay? Whatever you
Correct is
want to
right.
go, I am a motivational speaker. I am motivating you. Go and dabble into whatever you want to go into. Just go for it. You know,
Yeah,
and this is something you have to motivate your young people. When I was young, I didn't have that motivation. I motivated myself. You know, I'm also a poet and an author and all that good stuff now. But I'm motivating you too. Whatever you want to do, reach for it. My motto from my high school from St. Augustine Girls High School is per ardua ad astra, through difficulty to success. Go for whatever you want. Just go for it. Don't ever let
Um.
nobody tell you you can't.
Yeah, and a good idea is that to read the book, The Magic of Thinking Big by
Yep.
Dr. David Schwartz. The Magic of Thinking Big. And Keegan and Cindy, when you guys come in, there's always little thing, right? Mark Daniel says Keegan and Cindy should be chief and deputy chief secretary. Again, all they see the politics in it. You see,
Wow.
we, we, we ain't talk no politics, right? We ain't talk no politics. We come to talk, ambassadors. We ain't talking. You see, we ain't even talk that more autonomy, right? But that is for another day. But I want to say to you both, thank you guys so very kindly, and we want to have you guys back, in the future again to discuss some of the other things that you guys have done now that the borders are opening on July 17th, 2021. So things are going to be opening up, and we definitely like to have you guys back, to discuss with us again what are some of the things that you guys have done since we last spoke. So before you go,
Be,
Keegan, any closing words?
Before Keegan speaks,
Yeah.
Keegan had an incident with a stranded relative, or was a relative or friend. Keegan
No, it wasn't a relative. It was a friend of mine.
was stranded.
Oh, okay. Oh, you had a friend stranded.
Yep,
And
and he had to go ahead.
Okay.
well, we tried our best to ensure that he got home as soon as possible. Took about a year, but he got home eventually.
1 year a year, right?
Only a year.
So before you go, Keegan, any closing words?
Thank you again for having us. Thank you to your listenership for being here with us. Let me again extend an invitation to all of you to our curriculum week of activities that we have. In Cindy's closing remarks, she would tell you a little bit more about that. And we look forward to being here again. Let me just leave some word of advice with your listenership. There are three kinds of people in this life. There's the pessimist, there's the optimist, and there's the realist. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects the wind to change. But the realist, they are the ones that adjust their sails and make the best of every opportunity made available to them. So I encourage all of you, be realist. Take the bull by the horns. Take advantage of every opportunity that you can and make the best of it. And always make an effort and never an excuse.
And who made that quote? Maxwell.
Maxwell, correct.
I gave that quote to the Honorable Prime Minister in one of my poetry books. Great minds think alike.
Thank you so much, Keegan. And let's go over to Cindy. Cindy, your
So thank
closing
you
words.
for having us. I would just like to invite everyone on the network to follow our social media, CYA Trinbago, and this is on Twitter, Instagram as well as Facebook at 8 p.m. tonight. You can join us on Twitter Spaces for CARICOM Carnival. You don't want to miss it. We have two DJs, two up-and-coming DJs, DJ Kingston as well as DJ Brian, and they will be taking us through the night across the various Caribbean countries so that we can vibe a bit as we begin our celebration of CARICOM Day, which is tomorrow. And you can check out our social media pages. You're going to see videos of persons across Trinidad and Tobago just sharing what it means to be CARICOM. We are promoting and we are in full support of the I Am CARICOM campaign, which really hopes to promote that understanding and that awareness of the benefits of CARICOM and what it means to be a part of this community. On Monday, we chat with Dr. Brown, Minister of Foreign Affairs, in our Meet Your Ministers Now for Now segment. On Tuesday, we test your knowledge of CARICOM. So, Diane, Maxwell, Ms. Ansel, we are going to invite you, if you do have the time, to check us out on Instagram, where you have 48 seconds to see how much questions you can answer about CARICOM. It's a very, very, very tough one. We'll see if anybody can make it to 5. I set the questions, and I can tell you, when I shared it with my team, we had some long nights.
Miss Andrews, as a senior citizen, I ain't about this 5 minutes thing, you had to give me a little more time, Okay.
I think you have an advantage, Just the kind of wisdom you all have, so you might even fool me. We're not debating any answers. The answers are final. We're not debating any answers in your 48 seconds. Right. So on Wednesday, we have our virtual forum where we discuss the impact of COVID-19 on CARICOM, and it's going to feature persons from the Hill Foundation. We're going to have Mr. Kevon McKenna, and he's one of the integral and instrumental persons in the Tobago Carnival discussion. So we're really going to have that whole take on that tourism and culture aspect and the impact of COVID on that, as well as Ms. Rakaya Scott, a young and budding economic social.
Hold on there one moment, Miss Andrews. We have to go for a station ID.
No, let her go. Let her finish. No, let her go. Go ahead. So I'll play those quicker.
Yeah. Then on Thursday, we sit and we chat with My Caribbean LLC about that whole CSME network. And I know Keegan is very, very excited about it. You will have to change Keegan's name to CSME because of the amount of effort he puts into ensuring that we build that conversation and that network. On Friday, we're winding down. So we have a Caricolado, which is the CARICOM drink that we would have created for this week's celebration. So you can check out our social media, check your grocery to ensure that you have all your items, and you can post a photo or video of you making a Caricolado. It's a very, 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 it comes in alcoholic and non-alcoholic. So you use your discretion. Only persons over 18 are allowed to consume the alcoholic version. And on Saturday, we wind up with Life in CARICOM, a talent and culture night. We're going to invite all persons who are members of Trinidad and Tobago, whether you're in the diaspora or you're home right now in lockdown. Submit your artwork, join us on the live. We're going to have a very, very, very beautiful session where we connect and we come together and we just share in all of our culture, rich history and heritage. So we're very excited for this week of activity. We thank you so much again for featuring us, and we look forward to being back on the show.
Okay. Thank you so very kindly, and we wish you guys all the best. Thank you so very kindly.
I like the CARICOM colada. I already have one ingredient here. Okay, good.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys.
Without your coconut.
I have coconut. I have coconut here. That's an apple wine, by the way.
Well, right. So you're gonna add your plain taste, but we look forward to seeing your photos. So Keegan, next. So you're gonna check in with Diana later this week to make sure that she makes her drink.
Oh boy.
Of course. Now we'll be sure to send her the flyer so that she can see in there for her as well in terms of logging on to all the activities that we have planned.
Answer.
Okay, guys.
Make a drink.
Thank you guys so very kindly. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much.
Thank you again for having us.
Okay. So there you have it, guys. Let's go for a quick station identification, and we'll be right back after the station identification.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey. The most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
So we are back with you. It's In the Village to the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen.
Look who show up. You see the talk about 𝗪𝗪𝘁𝘀𝗽𝗽? Look who show up.
Who's that? Who show up?
Look.
The Phantom?
The Phantom been listening. I tried to join, but I left the opportunity. I didn't want to suffocate the app, I said, let me get the young people a chance to,
Yeah, you hear 𝗪𝗪𝗁𝗪𝗪. Yeah, you hear about wine and liquor. You show up, see?
I didn't want to. I didn't want the program to crash now, so I see like things was happening. So I just wanted to stay.
No, Gabby go on Lavantil by the in that building there in Lavantil.
You hear about liquor and you show up.
I could flip around that building and show all of them. I could show them what economic empowerment is when I go down there.
Yeah. But
you hear about liquor and you show up.
Eh?
We could go and spin down place around and show them.
Yeah. Hey, brother, listen to our Prime Minister today talking about the borders. I think this one is the board. Hold on, no.
Do me a favor. After you show that, I want you to show the opening at the airport and who was there.
Oh Lord.
Okay. All right. This is the border
quarantine protocols for Trinidad and Tobago. So again, we go back to the definition, which is the cornerstone of vaccinated versus unvaccinated persons. A fully vaccinated individual is considered so 2 weeks after having or receiving the final recommended vaccine dose or doses of a WHO-approved vaccine. The approved vaccines to date from WHO are Pfizer-BioNTech, AstraZeneca Oxford, Janssen, which is the Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Sinopharm of the Beijing plant, and Sinovac CoronaVac. So the categories, passengers from all countries, we broke it into 3 categories. So you have the first category, unvaccinated individuals, and just a note there, this category applies to nationals only. You require a PCR test 72 hours prior to arrival, which will be validated by the airline. Immediately after arrival, you go into state supervised quarantine for 14 days, medical assessment within 24 hours of arrival, daily monitoring, and a COVID-19 PCR test done on the 7th day of your quarantine. Asymptomatic passengers who test negative are allowed to go home after the quarantine period, and passengers who test positive are immediately transferred into the parallel healthcare system based on your acuity of the disease at the point in time. Just a note, asymptomatic passengers testing negative on day 7 still have to complete the 14-day period within the designated facility. Retaining passengers requiring immediate medical attention, whether it be coming in by air ambulance or becoming critically ill while at the quarantine site, they will be allowed to go to any quarantine hospital where they get care. These are non-COVID positive, so they will go to possibly another facility, have their care. If it is less than the 14 days and you're well, you can go back to the facility thereafter. Stable patients being transferred back to the state supervised quarantine facility. Passengers who test positive for COVID-19 upon arrival or during quarantine are again transferred into a facility at the parallel healthcare system. Fully vaccinated passengers. PCR test 72 hours prior to arrival. Proof of vaccination, WHO approved vaccine. No quarantine required. Category 4, children. So unvaccinated children traveling with a vaccinated parent or guardian are allowed home with the following conditions: a PCR test 72 hours prior to arrival, repeat of the PCR test between days 3 and 5 of arriving into the country, which will be required to, that test is to be sent to the office of the county medical officers of health at the various counties. Of course, if you're positive at that time, you'll be isolated, contact tracing will be started. Any unvaccinated adult traveling with a child will go to state supervised quarantine as per category 1. Unvaccinated children traveling without a vaccinated parent or guardian will also go to category 1, which is state supervised quarantine for the 14-day period. Prime Minister, that's the end of the presentation.
We're using this, as of today, we're using the 17th of July. I would like at this stage to ask Dr. Parasram to go through the conditions for entry, since
That's what you just went
the
through, right?
CMO's office is the authority on what goes on in this matter. Lay out the conditions for entry through the port. And while Dr. Parasram is getting ready, I would say we have two airports, two international airports in this country, one in Trinidad, one in Tobago. Let me just say that to enter Trinidad and Tobago, there will be conditions laid down at Piarco, and there will be conditions laid down at A&R Robinson and Tobago. The difference is that in Tobago, we will not allow unvaccinated nationals to enter the country through Tobago. Unvaccinated nationals, if you are such, you will have to enter through
Israel is adamant that Tobago is not
if you
prepared
are
for.
not a national, you will not enter at all as an unvaccinated person.
So you guys hear that, right? Now let's listen to the Prime Minister again with respect to Tobago. Let's listen to this one.
I hear that, but we are not going to relieve ourselves of that suffering by inviting unvaccinated people inside here, because the second case will be worse than the first. Right? Even though we love to have tourists come to Tobago in large numbers, at this point in time, unvaccinated tourists are unwelcome.
Will I hear that?
So I have a question. I have a question, right? I'm confused. You know me ain't too smart. He keeps referring to the word national. Good. Now, I have to go and use myself, right? Now, oh Lord. When I travel, I use a US passport.
Okay.
But in the US passport, it says, born in Trinidad and Tobago. What do they consider me?
Abidjan.
No, honest to God.
Abidjan.
He said national, right? He said national, right? Now, when you're filling out the documents, I can't go and put Trinidadian anymore because I don't have dual citizenship. I have you're going to figure it out. I have dual citizenship of Barbados and USA. Automatically I'm a citizen of Barbados because it's given to me by the Constitution. But of Trinidad, you see what I'm saying? I don't have my passport and all that to prove, but it's in my passport, my US passport. It's born there. Now, would they consider me a national? Or he keeps using the word national. He does not say visitor.
Diana, that was fixed under the NAR government.
What do you mean that was fixed?
You didn't have to apply. You didn't have to give up your citizen if you accept a citizenship in another country. Neither do you when the NAR government put things in place that you automatically remains a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago.
So why they giving you then some kind of cocoa bubble going on then? Why it is I cannot walk into this is what I'm trying to tell you. It's too much of nonsense. He coming out now, he's saying national.
All right, what are you trying to walk into? Just tell me what you were trying to walk into. Explain.
Let's say I wanted to go to, which I don't want to. Let's say I want to go to Trinidad tomorrow. I use my US passport.
Okay.
What am I considered?
You are
a US citizen.
Okay, but his rules are state. But his rules are saying nationals.
You are a national by birth.
Okay.
Listen to me. When I go to Trinidad, I don't go to visit the line,
Without a Trinidad passport, you are not considered a Trinidadian when you come in.
Talk, Tommy. Tell him.
Let me ask you something. Do you have your old Trinidad passport, Diana?
No, it's lost or stolen. Long time ago, I don't know where the hell it is. I put in a report that it's lost or stolen. So they put me to apply for a new one. So I'm confused. There are going to be people like myself that don't understand this word national.
Listen to me. You have a board paper. Get the,
I
apply for the latest board paper and fill out
have
the
that.
form.
I have that.
And fill out the form and apply for the new passport.
But here for the new passport, now they want somebody with a Trinidad and Tobago passport vouching for you.
Yeah, I see. I went through that. In fact, is the fallout with the counseling that didn't proceed. But I had somebody did all of that for me. All the application was filled out.
So you see the confusion that's gonna come out of this. Now he don't want you going to Tobago. Well, I'm vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. I don't have to go to Trinidad. I would rather fly into ANR. I prove my proof of the. I don't want to go nowhere lock up. No, nobody lock me up. I want to be free as the virus. I want to go to Put Your Point, bed, do my thing, right? But if all of this, you know, and when you get there now, they're gonna be like your U.S. passport, born in Trinidad. What are they gonna consider you?
You walk with your board paper too. Walk with your board paper too.
I could walk with that too, but what are they gonna consider? No, but you no, listen to me. When you filling out
Diana, when I went someday, they give me some real problems, you know.
Thank you. When you fill out the thing, they ask you what is your nationality. Hello? What is your nationality? You cannot say Trinidadian because you're presenting. No, you're presenting a U.S. passport.
That's all right. And you on your board on your passport say you're born in Trinidad and Tobago. I asked them, I said, when they started to give me a hard time, I said, is there a problem? Can you tell me what the problem is? She couldn't answer.
You see the problem?
So listen, guys, quickly, let's bring in Hochoy Charles so we could get, because we have
yes, go ahead.
Rambally coming in as well. Let's bring in Hochoy Charles. Let me see, hold on a minute. Mr. Charles, a pleasant welcome to you. Welcome back to In the Village with the Dark Triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. Can you hear us?
I am hearing you loud and clear.
Wonderful, sir.
Welcome back. Welcome back, sir.
I have my notepad to take notes, sir, because I get a lot of historical information from you. So really? Go ahead. Yes.
We have to make this a frequent thing, you know.
My lessons are always free.
Yeah, I learn a lot that I did not learn at St. Augustine Girls High. I learn and university here. I learn a lot from you, sir.
Well, you better let us begin right away because let's begin right away. There's something that is buzzing around here, man. Right.
Yeah. So, Mr. Charles, welcome back. I just saw a release by the deputy political leader of the PDP, Dr. Faith Israel, saying that Tobago is not ready for its borders to reopen. You want to quickly comment on that?
No, I don't wish to comment on those things at this time. I want to focus on our matter of getting our power to determine our destiny, and when that happens,
that's fine.
What would when that happens, we will deal with matters of that kind. Whether nobody else can close the borders in Tobago when that happens.
Correct, sir. That's fine enough. Wonderful. So let's go back. Let's go back to you took us to an education class the last time you were here, and 100% of the people in the chat say, you know, that triplets, you guys have to bring back, you know, Mr. Hochoy Charles. So here you are back again, and we want you to continue the education process. Is there any breaking news? Has anything changed since the last time you were in here with us with respect to autonomy, you know, for Tobago?
But it was yesterday I was on?
Thursday,
right, yeah, Thursday. Today's Saturday, right?
Right, today's Saturday.
Okay, well, what has happened since then is that the chairman or the chairperson, I have to be very careful on my gender, the chairperson, Mrs. Camille Robinson-Regis of the Joint Select Committee of Parliament that is looking after this whole question of the internal self-government matter for Tobago. Yesterday, she would have sent out requests for people not only the political parties, but for all stakeholders, any stakeholder, to submit comments on the document which and I call it the report of the Joint Select Committee and the bills that were attached that were laid in Parliament on the 9th and was debated last week, that we should send in comments on those bills because of what had happened in the Parliament. And the deadline for doing so is the 15th of this month. So something is happening. With all the hullabaloo and all that you all know, all that the Prime Minister and everybody have been saying, I think I listened to the Attorney General said that, that when they received the letter signed by myself and Farley Augustine, all the members of Parliament, while they were debating the issue, I think it was on the second day, the Tuesday, and he said that since no one in the Parliament, we have no local standard in the Parliament, and nobody was there to bring these amendments, he is going to take the responsibility for doing it. And I want to just say this, wow, this same thing about Samsung come up again, boy.
Oh my God.
I don't know. But you're hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
I will go because they say you're going to cut off in 20 minutes because Samsung phone overheating and something else again. I don't know.
Boy.
Something up.
Something wrong, boy.
Something up.
Something wrong.
Yeah, they're messing with his phone. How come
Just remember who's involved in the technology of Samsung, and where the phones are being manufactured, and all the apps and these things. You know what I mean?
Gary, here's the video you wanted.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you all very much for coming here this morning. Under the hosting authority of the Minister of Works and Transport, Minister Sinanan. What we're doing here this morning is we have all of the stakeholders who are necessary and part of the start of the reopening of the borders.
Wait. Wait, now.
In what capacity is he acting?
No, what did I miss? No. Only help me.
He said all stakeholders that are necessary in the reopening of Piarco. That's what he says. Yeah. Stakeholders are necessary. So where is the Minister of National Security?
Ulrich says sabotage. Ulrich, Rose says not again. Ulrich, I didn't want to. Ulrich and Rose, I didn't want to go down that road, But all you have to understand that WZYE 95.9 FM has been banned by Facebook for 2 months because we put up a video. We did a video with the Soca Warriors new head coach, and you see how good the Soca Warriors doing since they come on WZYE 95.9 FM. They beat Montserrat 6-1. Right? They blame a handful and won. Right? And now that we have Hochoy Chaz on, the same thing happened on Thursday. And I wanted to say, you know what? Maybe something was going wrong and something ain't right. But the man come back tonight and listen, less than 2-3 minutes into the discussion, the same thing happened now. They say, nah, we ain't getting a long time again to talk, so you can send a message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We continue forthwith.
Get in touch with Watson and reschedule him and ask Watson to help us set him up on a device until. And one of the things I would like to suggest is if we can somewhat send something for him eventually.
A device or something,
an iPad or something.
Device,
we had to do. I had to contact my engineer. Boy. We had to do something wrong, boy.
Yeah.
But
something
I would
wrong.
like if we can do something about getting him a device.
Yeah. All right. So let me go back. Let me go back to the to Gary boy. I thought
run it.
Good morning. morning. Thank you all very much for coming here this morning. Under the hosting authority of the Minister of Works and Transport, Minister Sinanan. What we're doing here this morning is we have all of the stakeholders who are necessary and part of the start of the reopening of the borders. You all would have heard the Prime Minister announce the reopening of the borders, and we're working to make sure everything is implemented. So persons, we have to get proof of your full WHO approved vaccination, which means a WHO approved vaccine as well as the WHO approved standard of 14 days after the last jab of that vaccine, then you're considered fully vaccinated. You upload that into a system that's being built out, you get a pass to come to Trinidad, you then book with the airlines. So this morning we have the airlines that fly into Trinidad. We have Caribbean Airlines, we have JetBlue, American Airlines, I think United is here as well, Copa Airlines and some other airlines. And then once you arrive here in Trinidad fully vaccinated, you have to prove before coming here 72 hours before a negative PCR test, which is something we've already had in place for months now. That continues, fully vaccinated, 72-hour negative PCR test. You arrive in Trinidad, we clear you. We have hotels here this morning, we have immigration, customs, and that's it. You go about your business. No requirement at this stage for quarantine. That's how we're looking at the reopening. That will apply to both our nationals as well as non-nationals who are fully vaccinated with a WHO vaccine and WHO approved vaccine. The next category will be the unvaccinated persons, unvaccinated non-nationals. Right now our borders continue to be closed to them. We're not managing that risk. For unvaccinated nationals, what you do is you do the same application process, indicate that you're unvaccinated because there may be reasons for that. Then you have to provide your 72-hour negative PCR test, come into Trinidad, and we're building out the system for those persons to go into state supervised quarantine, which is paid for quarantine. So the IT system will manage that. But this morning, one of the important things on our walkthrough is how we're going to handle our unvaccinated nationals who return, because we don't want them mixing and interfacing and increasing any risk of spread. So all of that is part of what we're going to be doing here this morning. We have, as you see, all of our necessary stakeholders, and we want to walk through to just make sure everybody's on the same page. So when our borders open, it's going to be smooth opening, and we expect vaccinated and unvaccinated nationals to come and go. And what we're asking at this stage still is that people just continue to exercise caution. We're still in a global pandemic and there's still a lot of unknown. You can still put yourself and others at risk. But that's what this morning is about. Alright, so under 18 is the age that we're using. Of course, there may be children, nationals who have been vaccinated away, etc. It's better. At this stage, real global policy should be, once vaccines are available, get vaccinated and help reduce the risk of spread.
You know, I mentioned earlier, them fellas. Okay, let me go to the first subject, right? What the hell is Fitzgerald? Listen, where's Fitzgerald Hines?
I don't know.
Where's Fitzgerald Hines?
I don't know. Maybe he's incapacitated.
But wait.
Somebody incapacitate him.
What, no, Albert Montano says Stuart Young is Dr. Keith's spokesman. But let me say this, and I stand in the PNM this. If Dr. Rowley feel he go put Stuart Young out front for Stuart Young to become the leader of the People's National Movement, black people in Trinidad and Tobago have a different thing coming for Stuart Young. I could say this. If Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley think he's going to hurt Stuart Young on the PNM people, and I can say this, especially the black PNM people. Dr. Rowley, you see how you lost that seat in Tobago back then, and you run to the Gomartin West, right? I hope you learn, and I can tell you, this little black boy from Chumakat, Lavantil, will not allow you, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, to hoist Stuart Young on the main people who vote in the PNM, the black people. Don't forget, today is July the 3rd, right? Tomorrow will be
2021.
right. Tomorrow will be 43 years since I've been in this country. 44 years since I'm in this country, and I'm sending to Dr. Rowley again. If you believe, but Dr. Rowley, let me ask you a question, Dr. Rowley. Why there is issues with the Ministry of National Security and you haven't Stuart Young speaking and you don't have Mr. Fitzgerald Hines? Why are you doing the black man that, Dr. Rowley?
Well, let me tell you something. I got some
one minute, Gary. One minute. Dr. Rowley, the black man, Fitzgerald Hines, is the Minister of National Security. When you had Stuart Young as Minister of National Security, anything to do with Minister with Security, Stuart Young used to speak on it. I never hear Franklin Khan, who was then the Minister of Energy, going to the airport to speak about anything with respect to the Ministry of National Security. Dr. Rowley, why are you doing that to another black man, Dr. Rowley? You are disrespecting the black man, Dr. Rowley. Come on, Dr. Rowley. You said you are the blackest man in Trinidad and Tobago. You said that, Dr. Rowley. Why are you disrespecting Fitzgerald Hines as a black man? Dr. Rowley, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Whenever there are things to do with Minister of National Security or the Ministry of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines should be talking about that. Not Stuart Young. He's the Minister of Energy. What the hell does energy have to do with the airport? Dr. Rowley, you taking black people for granted, you know, and you taking black people in the PNM for fools. No, those in the go along, get along PNM gang. They don't go say nothing. But this is one PNM person going to say something. Dr. Rowley, wake up, you know. Stop taking black people for fools, especially black PNM people.
I have a question. You know, I've been saying before, I would like to know if China bought Trinidad and Tobago for Stuart Young to run. I would like to know if Stuart Young's father bought the government of Trinidad and Tobago for his son. Because nobody could have backed in this whole exemption and border closure situation here. You know, everything was dictated by Stuart Young for the past year. Not a damn dog bark without Stuart Young saying yes or no. And we're seeing it more and more. And so tonight I'm here to buff the buffer, Dr. Rowley. Dr. Rowley, what the hell it is you think you're doing? You think me some fool? You think me stupid?
You know, and he couldn't even...
nonsense, Dr. Rowley.
Wait, Gary, let Tommy finish.
Nonsense.
Go ahead, Gary. Let Gary finish. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. You know, go ahead. I will say more what I have to say. I'm a little cold here, but I'm trying to fight it.
Go ahead, Tommy.
You know, the thing is that if he were to say that the current Minister of National Security wasn't a good spokesperson and he needed Stuart Young as a good spokesperson, that would have made a difference. As a matter of fact, the Minister of National Security is a better spokesperson than both him and both the Prime Minister and Stuart Young.
I don't care if the Minister of National Security wasn't a good spokesperson or not. He is the Minister of National Security, and we have to give him the right.
He's disrespected. He's grossly disrespected. That's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. Right? And I want them in the go along, get along PNM gang. I want to see them talk about that. I want to see MVP when the go along, get along PNM gang will talk about that. And I'm going to see them attentively.
Let me hear you. Let me hear you, Rhoda.
Yeah. Send Rhoda a message. Rhoda by it. Anybody in the chat know Rhoda by it? Hold up. Let me get this tune here. Who said this one, boy? Linda, this one is for you. Right? Linda request this tune. Linda. This one is for Linda. Hold on. Linda request this tune here. Hold on. There we go, Linda. Here, boy. Let me see the people who go along, get along gang. Let me see what they have to say. Right? Embarrassment. That's just wicked and evil, man.
Long time I see
Hold on. Let me get this one first.
Yeah. Where was all of them? All of them that was preaching race in back in the election there. Why did I stand up for Fitzgerald Hines?
Mm-hmm. Of course. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much. Boy, Ulrich says the go along, get along gang will have nothing to say. If they say anything, they will support Rowley. Yeah, I want Pastor Google. Pastor Google, I know you're listening, eh? Pastor Google, I know you're listening. I want to see all you come out and defend all your black brother. Sharon Felix, Dominic Roman, and Bruce Wayne. I want to see all you come out and defend all your black brother. Right? I want to see all you come out. Aisha Wells, I know Aisha Wells listening. Aisha Wells, I know you're listening. Let me see you come out and defend Fitzgerald Hines. Right? And the crew in the Seamster shop on I-95.5. Let me see how you come out and defend all your black brother or whatever stain you go along, get along, pay them gang. Let me see. We will see. Because I put all you on notice. I put all you on call now. All you on notice. All you see? Because when Stuart Young was Minister of National Security, all you never hear God rest his soul, Franklin Khan, who was Minister of Energy, talking anything about Ministry of National Security. Anything to do with the airport and car was strictly the Minister of National Insecurity. Let me hear
Not even the Minister of Foreign Affairs could have intervened on our behalf outside here.
Correct is right. Correct. Not even the Minister of Foreign Affairs. But all of us sit down there and all of us allow that boy. What? Nah. But always not just the go along, get along, eh? Always the go along, get along, go along, get along, go along, get along, PNM gang. Always standing up for nothing. Pastor Google, I'm not coming on your program now. Come on your program now. I want to talk about that.
Invite him here. Invite him here in your yard.
I invite him already. He's saying come in. He say you want to talk about no exile and stranded citizens. He don't know nothing about that.
Oh shit.
You know nothing about that.
Yeah, it have nobody exiled and stranded. Anyway, repatriation flight from JFK landed with some of our people, safely. And I heard from one of them. I'm going to be sure I hear from the rest of them during the night. So our young mother who didn't see her baby for 16, 17 months, she's on the ground in Trinidad. I have another sister whose parents, one of her father, is very ill, and she's been trying to go home for a while. And I had to do some things on the ground there for her to get some support until she can get there. So I just want to say that they are on the ground in TNT. So mission accomplished on that part.
Hey, listen, Ulrich, I disagree with you. I think, Ulrich, this is the first time. Hey, Rambally too, right? This is the first time the go along, get along PNM gang go come out and stand up for the black brother Fitzgerald Hines. I look into my crystal ball. Diana, what do you think, Diana? Diana,
if it is his portfolio, then he ought to be performing in his portfolio, unless I'd say he's incapacitated.
Or exiled and stranded.
Yeah, he's exiled and stranded from the Ministry of National Security. You know, I wonder if it stems from when he was having that press conference the other day and the Canadian woman cut him off. I wonder, if Papa Rowley, boof him for that. But where is he? Is he incapacitated? They didn't announce anything. Why is Stuart Young dabbling here, there, and every year? I don't want him for no prime minister.
No,
I don't want no China man. No.
Diana, we gotta speak truth to power.
No.
Listen, can Dr. Rowley go to China and become the premier?
No.
But listen to me. I have no problem with nobody becoming born Trinidadian regardless of your race become prime minister. But based on how our people was treated by Stuart Young.
Nope.
Okay. Gary, I have a problem with that. I tell you, I have a problem with that. These are minority and want to come and rule the majority? Nah.
Yeah, but
No.
but I don't have a problem with anybody race. What I have a problem with is how Short Young in particular treated my people and caused them to go hungry and homeless in foreign countries. And when we had to pull our pennies together, okay, and Diana and other sisters have to help me through this journey.
I don't like he have a kind of way about him, you know. He's not cooperative and
towards our people, none at all. And we saw the first trip. And Sam, I'm gonna send in that video. The first trip that we got down on the ground last September. Guess what kind of people I see that was sent back to me? Guess what kind of people were seen there and sent back to me, and they were vexed.
Yeah, he don't have an engaging way about him. If he ever became prime minister, me ain't coming to Trinidad and Tobago. As long as I ain't going there. Me ain't going there. I'm telling you that. Nope.
Diana.
Yeah.
Hey, but wait, Vonnie Roberts, Vonnie's joining us new. Vonnie, where you from?
Nope.
Vonnie say, Vonnie, like Vonnie no Google, right? Vonnie must know Google. Vonnie say, rest assured, Google will not cross the line. Vonnie, you don't know that, you know. The man might go to church and preach one day, and he might have an epiphany, and he could come next day. He could get, you know, sometimes he just get a calling from God. You know, the man might get a calling from God, and God might tell him, Pastor Google, you understand for something, you know, or you go fall for nothing.
I don't, you know, he have a kind of way about him, and then he go have Faris Alwari behind him too. Nah, I don't want them dictators. I don't want to be in a country with them dictators. Be like 10 Trumps, you know. Not me. Nah.
Vonnie says she's from Trinidad. Vonnie from Trinidad. Vonnie just joined us. Vonnie's new joining us. Right? I would say you want to thank Mr. Hanks for giving his sister an exemption for his sister to come home.
Damn straight.
Yeah. You fella walking.
You see what it is? What it is? Fitzgerald Hines make. He makes Stuart Young look bad. That's what happened.
Damn straight.
That is what happened.
You feel so?
Yeah. Give Jack his jacket. A black man make a Chinese man look bad.
But just imagine Diana.
Right away to secure the border. 700 troops. 700 troops.
Diana, just imagine. I have to admit that Fitzgerald Hines makes Stuart Young look bad.
He make him look bad. But look, how he remember exemptions start going on, the flights start mulling and what that Stuart Young couldn't do. People stranded for a year. Look, the guy, Mr. Dinoon, said his person was stranded for over a year. And in a private conversation, he told me the person almost lost their home, their cars almost got repossessed because he couldn't get back home because this insecurity, Mr. Young, wouldn't give them an exemption to come. I don't know what that exemption policy was there for in the first place. And look what happened. Let me tell you something, Let me calm down here. You see this?
No, I don't want you to calm down.
Wait. Let me tell you. You see this? There's this thing where they're talking about opening KFC and what's the next place? What's the next fast food? McDonald's and all that.
Royal Castle.
I have my qualms about that, you know. I got my qualms about that. You know, they're trying to make, and you know what I don't understand? People, they don't think, right? They lock you down. So, you know, he trying to distract from the real issue at hand. Let them out and let them go and stuff the belly with fried chicken and all that in a pan. Where they get money to buy fried chicken and stuff from?
They get the grant money.
So you're going to take your grant and go and spend it on that and you have bills to pay?
Well, I mean,
it don't make no sense to me. It don't make sense to me. Why would you, people might be going back to work. I'm glad for the women, that working in the fast food joints and stuff. But, the two, they don't mesh.
Diana, I think I heard something about these laundromats. So we had to find out who owned these laundromats. Okay.
Laundromat
What kind
open
of
back
people
up, boy.
involved behind it with these laundromats? And who get the
Wait,
preference?
Back up now. Wait, back up. You have laundromats in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I mean, that laundromat, I mean.
Well, listen, we welcome the laundromat. We just want to know who getting the privilege behind it. And if it's our own people or who it is.
Wait. You can't what about washing your clothes in the backyard with 2 tubs?
Yeah, you go wrong with you.
And water.
That if you get water?
Yeah, that's if you get water too.
Water. And
Yeah.
at one point they were charging you for using the river water.
Yeah, you have a point there too. Yeah, you have a point.
All construction opening on Monday, boy.
Yeah, the 5,000 Chinese workers gonna go to work.
But when you talk, listen, look, Chinese company to resume construction of airport terminal in Tobago, boy.
Is it Chinese company?
Oh God,
Trinidad is gonna be named China Dad soon.
Yeah, they think like
everything is China.
Linda said Chinese own the laundromat. That is true. In America, it's only Chinese that own laundromat in truth, you know. I always say. So I don't mean to deviate here. Always say. So I took my vaccine, right? And I did a little video of me taking the vaccine. And I didn't even see the vaccine itself.
Well, let me see.
No, but I put it up. Yeah, I put it up on WZYE YouTube page.
Oh, well, when I come up, I'll go on mark it.
Yeah, because what it is, I went through the process from my home straight to the drugstore, to the pharmacy. When I did the injection, I also hung out for 15 minutes. And then they come back and tell me I was to go home. I could go home. And I have to be honest with you, I took the Moderna vaccine. The only thing that I felt a little bit of arm soreness. And I had a headache for like a minute. And my daughter told me, she studied biology in school. She said, Dad, that was the placebo effect. In that, I'm thinking that being that I take the vaccine, I might have a headache. So I had a passing headache. And the next day I was able to go and run 5 miles like it ain't nothing. Right? The next day I went and I do a track workout. And it was surprisingly easy going. Surprisingly. I really didn't have much to go. And as I said in the video, I don't tell nobody whether to go and take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. Everybody have their own opinion about whether they take the vaccine or not. But with me, my wife actually signed me up. So when the boss sign you up, you know, you just follow through. You know, that's why I've been married for 33 years. You know what I mean? So the boss signed me up. He told me what time. So on that day, right, I was trying to go and take a run, but it was like 94 degrees, boy. So I couldn't run. So I had to go and just go to the place and take the vaccine. You know, so I didn't know. Linda, are you sure about this? I didn't know they had laundromat in Trinidad. I don't know. I didn't know.
Me neither.
No, I was unaware of that. And Linda says, sad when the government have no respect for the people. They feel they could give the people KFC to distract them. Well, all you have to understand, there's economics in that, you know.
Got that right.
Don't miss that. It's just want to give them that, and there's economics in that, you know. And I believe the person who owns KFC is that big fella. It's not Mute. It's Mute.
One of them.
KFC. That is the same fella who won the franchise for vaccine in Trinidad. You know? So yeah, the vaccine experience was cool. It wasn't difficult for me. You know, I know other people had difficulties with all sort of side effects and all kind of thing, but I was pretty good. You know? And whether you want to take the vaccine or not, that is up to you. And Gary, you see all the flights they have, boy? I see you send the thing with I'm gonna put that one up. They have all the flights. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this good, but this is all the flights that they have, you know, that they have now coming out of Trinidad, and so we doing good, man. We good. We doing very good. Right? But All I know out of America, the big news is Sha'Carri Richardson testing positive for weed.
Yeah, the girl that ran the
Yeah, and the Banshee from, well, they ain't Banshee, yeah. She might not be able to run the 100 meters in the Olympics. And let me say this, I will say this. I am a runner, and we was having this discussion in my family. I find for weed, even though they say it's an illegal drug and it's under, right, the International Olympic Committee as a banned drug, weed is not a performance enhancing drug. Weed don't enhance your performance, right? So to me, but I think what's gonna happen is gonna start a movement though. I think this one will start a movement.
It already has, because some athlete came out in her defense saying that it's okay for people taking Xanax and other things for psychological issues, and she takes, and in some states marijuana is legal. There's legal recreational marijuana. So if she uses it in a state where it's recreationally and is approved, then what stance do they have to ban her or suspend her? So it's a catch-22 position. I'm eager to see how it will turn out. And also too, I wanted to mention to you, the young lady, the journalist in Trinidad, she got her job back.
Oh, she got her job back.
Yeah.
So Watson Duke was right.
Watson Duke was right. Yep, right. She got her job back.
Again, you should have heard the PNM go along, get along, gang how they
I saw
criticize
something
him.
to that effect. Yeah.
You see how they criticize him and say, oh God, he don't know this and he don't know that, and you shouldn't think. Look at him. The man turned out to be correct again. Sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and make people think you're a fool than to open it and confirm it.
I think they judge him because he's very direct and he don't beat around the bush in what he says. And he's judged on his demeanor rather than the content and things that he knows. So they need to look past that and give the man a chance.
Watson Duke is Watson Duke. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody don't have that. Sophie. I'm a very harsh, brusque person myself. I'll bite off your head in a minute. But some people don't understand that delivery. So they'll criticize you. They'll launch an ad hominem attack at you. Because they're not gonna agree with you and your stance. So,
but listen, I'm looking forward to them coming with everything possible against Watson Duke in Tobago. But in the meantime, I want us to do on our end here to give a voice to them and everybody in Tobago, so that they are not muzzled. This is our objective. Even the people down in Trinidad who are oppressed in any way and feel like they are being muzzled and they're not being heard, let us offer that opportunity. We're here for the people.
Gary, let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Why won't the people in the PNM stand up and ask the question? Just ask the question. Why is Fitzgerald Hines not there as the Minister of National Security in charge of the border and exemption policy? Why?
Because they are afraid.
In a grand opening like this at the airport.
Thank you. They are afraid of Dr. Keith Rowley. That is why they are afraid of him. He's operating as a dictator now.
Well, listen to me. We're going to continue to buff the buffer and deal with him.
Where is Fitzy? We want Fitzy back on the job.
Yeah,
we want Fitzy back on his job. Unless he's incapacitated, put Fitzgerald Hines back and let him do his work. That is what he was elected. He's being paid by the taxpayers' money to be minister. You put him there as Minister of National Security. Put him back in his post. And then move this Chinaman, let him go back and deal with the oil and wherever. Sure.
Vonnie says, Ansel, please try and get Mr. Hochoy Charles. Vonnie, we had Mr. Hochoy Charles on last Thursday.
Same.
And what happened, it appears that somebody was sabotaging his phone. So we brought him back tonight.
Same problem.
The same problem that happened last Thursday suddenly reappeared again on his phone tonight. So we only had about 2 minutes of him.
You had to send somebody, send a technician in Tobago to him, or let him go there and somebody look at his phone for him. Yeah. Somebody you trust.
Albert Montano says, Ansem and Diana, anyone who does not agree with PNM and their supporters is wrong.
Hey. Look, we didn't agree. Hey, look, this is with
No, but Diana, I think he's saying something on our side.
Yeah, I know,
okay,
but there's something called compromise. I mean, if everybody's not gonna agree with everything that someone does, then you are. Look, they didn't agree with Jesus Christ. They didn't agree with him, and he's supposed to be the savior of all mankind, eh? And what they do with Jesus Christ? They crucify the man. So what is you all talking? We don't. Nobody has a right to highlight or bring to the forefront. They're not happy with certain things. The populace is not happy. You people locked down. They have no work. They're hungry. They're starving. No money. They have no money to buy books. The children have to go back to school. People afraid to get sick. I mean, come on. I know you're gonna move the Minister of National Security. Nobody knows where he is. What really going on? What's really going on? You're bringing in 5,000 Chinese workers, and you have Trinbagonian nationals, Trinbagonians that get laid off from XYZ, where you tell me you can't find, unless it's highly skilled positions, you can't find Trinbagonians to do some of that work. 5,000 Chinese? Huh? I mean, come on.
Answer. Play that video last year where all our people were suffering there and show them what they met when they went home there.
Which one was that one?
I just sent it to you. I just sent it in the group.
Okay, all right, yeah. Listen, Diana, you see, people need to listen. Stop listening to the messenger and listen to the messenger. I remember what Sunduko he said, if they're sending 5,000 workers for us, we have to send 5,000 to China, so they could learn how to do many things that people who come in here doing. That makes sense. It's like a one-way. You have a one-way street, right? They just send him, and we ain't sending nobody. They send him, and they're benefiting, right? And we benefiting, but we benefiting in one way, right? From an economic standpoint, we're not benefiting. They're benefiting because when they come, they're taking jobs from us. You know what people will say? You know what some people will say? Yeah, them Chinese is hard workers, boy. Them Trinidad, them don't like to work. They're lazy, all kind of thing. Wait now. When man had to go and work to put food on the table, right? When person had to go and work to put food on the table and you can't get work, boy.
Coming out of this lockdown and SOE, they're going to take anything they get. It ain't 10 workers, it's 5,000. 5,000. You tell me you can't source workers in Trinidad and Tobago first?
You ever see what's in Duke men, how they perform? How quick they could throw up a building?
So, folks, it's almost to the top of the hour. It's in the village with the dark triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. Let me add back in Tommy. Of course, we come to you every Tuesday and Saturday. Here from 7 to 9 p.m. And folks, as we said here, in the village with the dark triplets, we keep it real, right? We address the issues, right? And it's real. The issues are real. If the government of Trinidad and Tobago is going to have all these Chinese workers coming to Trinidad and Tobago, why can we also benefit from the same amount going to China and learning to do some of those same work? Why not? Why it's only a one-way street? Look, let me go for a quick break. It's in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We'll be right back after this short break.
You're listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE LP 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio, WZYE 95.9 FM.
And of course, we are back with you. It's In the Village with the Dark Triplets and WZYE 95.9 FM. Of course, we come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We come to you every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. And I just got a message here. Somebody just text me something. The person asked this question: why can citizens who have been locked out of Trinidad and Tobago and was not allowed to come home except they went through exemption process are now being asked to quarantine at their expense? Anybody want to take that?
I remember, you know me, when the Honorable Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was on Rise and Shine, I predicted this would happen. And he brushed me off as saying, I don't know what I'm talking about. If you could go back and play the tape and tell me if you could find it. He brushed me off. My question, I asked him, I said, is it going to morph into where the returning nationals are going to have to pay for state quarantine? Why are they going to have to be forced? And he's smart and he have a wise fella, right?
Political genius.
Political genius. He brushed me off. He brushed me off. I said, all right. When it happened, I will keep ringing it at him. And look, it's happening now. Why people have to pay to go to quarantine and they have their home and they're negative? Why are you forcing people to go to quarantine? Why they can't go down to their home? He was in quarantine and he was positive. He was in quarantine in where he was in Tobago. People have their home. Give people work to them young nursing students to contact trace them or whatever. Let people go on home. Why are you forcing these people that are stranded? Or you see, it's a money making scheme, to further oppress people,
Well, yes, the person went on to say this. Tommy, we getting feedback from you.
I don't know why, but
yeah, the person went on to say this is an oxymoron. And he opened the country when you know that every other carrier that comes into Trinidad has already set the schedule for the summer and will not just be able to provide service until September. Having Caribbean Airlines run as a monopoly where they are charging $800 for a one-way ticket to Trinidad. So Diana, you see what you just said? And this person know what he's talking about, eh? This person know what he's talking about. But
are you still getting feedback from me?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I talk, I am hearing myself, repeating myself.
Okay. All right, because I tried to comment a few times on the topic and I was having a little problem. Anyways, it's a high ball game. You probably heard me say that before, but it's a high ball game with all that's going on in Trinidad and Tobago concerning the pandemic, the Chinese invasion, if you want to call it that, Dr. Rowley's handling of affairs, sidelining Fitzy right now, and so on and so forth. It's a high ball game. When you really think about it, it's much more than meets the ear and the eye. We'll have to see how this plays out, though, because at the end of the day, it's gross disrespect for the citizens. It's a wanton abuse of power, and it goes on and on. There's just a beginning and no end to it. But every ball game have an end, though. Every ball game have an end. It had to have some point where it had to be an end of play, and we just had to be in it for the long haul when it comes to dealing with our Prime Minister. I don't want to call his name right now, because we have a whole other 4 years of this to go. So we had to just bat our belly and deal with it.
I don't know. From my point of view, we don't have to suck it up. We have to stand up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Diana, you are so right, my sister. Just came in at now curfew and don't know what's going on as yet.
And they do things so shammy, you know. And when you try to bring it to their attention, you have a professional way of doing things, you know. They want to attack you. I put an ad hominem, like your word, and a hominem attacker on you. You know, can't you try it this way? You know, this ain't working. I mean, the whole thing. Why? Let's say I wanted to go home, and I had a home there. I don't want to go there really. Why are you forcing me to go into quarantine and I have a home? That don't make no kind of sense. Why you forcing me to go to paid quarantine? Why are you doing that? And I done had to pay $800 for a one-way ticket. Huh? You don't know how I catch my nenen to get that money, right? And when I get there, now you're forcing me to cough out another wherever the list of the prices is there. I mean, come on. What is really going on? Putting your knee in the neck of poor people. I'm tired now, man. And people, let me tell you, I'm going back to what Judge Volney said, you know. When the ants get tired and fed up, they go start coming out the holes and the hills, you know. They go get fed up soon, you know. They go get fed up. You wait. They gonna get fed up. How long you expect to put your knee in the neck of somebody and they're not gonna respond? They're gonna lash back at you. And there's nothing. You don't have enough law enforcement to hold back 1.something million people. You don't have enough. People are tired. They're fed up. They're tired and fed up. I don't know if he just follow the blogs and the social posts, and so the people are to the point where they can't take no more, you know. And a hungry man, angry man, two of them combined. You don't know what this person. I know people that lost their home and their car already, you know. You don't know what they're capable of doing. You don't know. And all you want to do is open back KFC, McDonald's, and whatever. That's opening the economy. What kind of madness is going on?
So what to the guy who's selling the bacon shack? What the person that's selling burgers? What to the guy selling, the chow on the side of the street? The little crab somewhere.
And the little vegetables thing on the side, that's where they make their money. And them is the poor people. Those are the poor people. Those are the 99%. That's what makes up the Trinidad and Tobago, most of it. Because if you ain't working for the government, or you're lucky enough to get into one of the few corporations there, then you have to be an entrepreneur.
I see my brother Dinesh is in the house. Welcome, brother.
Yeah. Let's bring him in. Mr. Dinesh Rambally, MP for Chaguanas West. Welcome to In the Village to the Dark Triplets. Of course, the Dark Triplets are Diana, Ansam, and Gary. And we have another person who is also with us. That's Tommy. And Tommy is considered to be the outside child or the love child. Welcome, sir.
Dinesh is saying that you can the audio very poor. I don't know. Is there some reason?
My audio or his audio?
He's saying audio poor, so I guess from our end.
No, we are the same audio as before.
Maybe
Okay.
turn up the volume on his.
No, I can't turn up no volume. Everything is
No,
up.
him. Maybe him.
Yeah, maybe him. Maybe something with him.
Turn up
Why
his
don't you send him
volume.
a message to turn up something, Gary? Because can he speak and let me hear? See, is he hearing us? Are you hearing us, sir?
Yeah, good evening. I'm hearing somewhat. It's a little bit broken, but are you all hearing me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, good.
So, sir, we want to say thank you for joining us here in the village with the DAG triplets. And we were just saying that the DAG is DAG, that's Diana, Ansem, and Gary. Diana is considered to be the storm. Gary is considered to be the phantom. And I am considered to be, well, they call me Wall Street. And what do you used to call me again, Diana?
I
Flash.
call him the
Flash.
Flash.
They call me Flash. And then we have another person with us. He's Tommy, and Tommy is considered to be the child. But people in the chat, most of the young ladies in the chat call him the love child.
Well, Tommy, introduce yourself about who you are.
Well, I'm also the Caribbean commissioner among the gang here in the city.
All right. The audio is somewhat broken.
You wanna log out and try to come back in?
Yeah,
What?
I'll
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah, try that and see what happens. Let's try that. So what we do, we'll remove him from the screen and let him come back in. I'm gonna kick him from the studio, and then no, all right, I'll just kick him out, and then he come back. Yeah,
Maybe
so
the
we do that.
internet.
Yeah,
Storm,
yeah.
the storm.
Hey, Ulrich says anytime you talk facts to them, they brand you a UNC. That's how they take them. So Ulrich, that's true, Ulrich can speak truth to power, though, boy. Tommy,
Whatever.
you don't have to go through another 4 years of this. Tommy, Mark said, Tommy, we don't have to go through another 4 years of this. We are the people just need to get up and get them out.
Exactly. If they stand up, they can do it.
Everything is loan from the Chinese. So like this government is obligated to them. All the construction contracts for them. I don't know what else for them. Linda says, Diana, they don't care about the people.
How many people from Chumaka get a contract on them?
What contract? Yeah, they get what contract they get? I mean people who go along, get them contract. Senator, welcome back. Can you hear us now? Is this any better?
Yes, I'm
MP,
hearing
that's
you.
MP.
Yes.
MP.
Thank you so much for.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It is my pleasure to be on. To meet the as you put it, the
DAG triplets. DAG.
Yes,
yeah.
DAG team. Yes. So I am delighted to be on with you all.
And we want to thank you so kindly for joining us. The heated issue in Trinidad and Tobago is autonomy for Tobago. And as the previous person who was here from your party, I asked the question that we know the people of Tobago know what they want, right? And I would think that the UNC also knows what the people of Tobago want. Why can the UNC just make those amendments for what the people of Tobago want and get this process, completed? And let me just add this one thing. For example, if there are 20 things in the amendment, right, and the opposition and the PNM agrees to 10 of those things, right? So they only have 10 other things they can sit down and work out. How come they don't work out on those 10 other things that they agree with so we can give the people of Tobago what they want?
All right. Thank you so much for raising those concerns or questions. There's a process that is followed in democratic societies as to how laws actually come into force, how laws are passed. And what we subscribe to is the Westminster model. And you have over centuries before you and I, the progression of how laws actually come before a particular house. In other words, it is brought to a house where it is presumed that at this venue you have voices who are representatives of the wider sections of society, that they will engage in discussions and laws are passed. Over the period of time, and more so in the last century or so, what you have been seeing is that you, before you take laws to, whether it be parliament or you take it to that venue, that house, I would want to call it loosely, where you have representatives who will pass the laws, you now have a factor which you must take into account called consultation. So if you are going to take steps which would in any way infringe on people's fundamental rights, and in this particular case, it is not in dispute that the rights of both Tobagonians and Trinidadians will somehow be affected. As it stands now, we are a unitary state, and we intend to keep it a unitary state. But within the unitary state, the Tobago Island, the sister island, being the smaller society, smaller numbers, smaller country, they wish to have autonomy, which, you know, somehow they can govern themselves. They are of the view that somehow or the other you have a cabinet that sits in Port of Spain. You have a cabinet that is drawn largely, mostly from Trinidad, and therefore they want to know that they don't have to subscribe to this system any longer. But getting back to the point that I was making earlier, consultation is something which is now part and parcel of your fundamental rights. So if it is part of the democracy, you're going to pass a law like this, very fundamental rights are being affected. I don't want to use the word infringed anymore, but they stand to be impacted in one way or the other. You're going to change or alter the relations that presently exist between Trinidad and Tobago and vice versa. The Tobagonians themselves want to know that at the end of the day, whatever is passed in the parliament, it reflects what it is they expect in terms of self-autonomy. So your question is, why doesn't the UNC and the PNM get together? And I mean, I can speak for the UNC. We have been getting together. What has happened is that there's a joint select committee. This committee is majority populated by members of the PNM. And there's a minority amount of members, Member of Parliament, Mr. Rujunat Inder Singh, Senator Jillian John, myself, member for Chaguanas West. We are the minority in this joint select committee. The majority is drawn from the government benches, both members of parliaments and senators, and then you also have maybe one or two independent senators. We all have been sitting since last year, October into November, because you would recall we had parliament in September, and then you would have had the appointment of this joint select committee, and the joint select committee would have gotten, you know, its mandate in October to move forward. During this period of time, the joint select committee is where you would now sit with a version, a preliminary version of a bill, a document, which is what you want to pass as law. We have been sitting and going through that document and trying to see how best we can somehow, translate on paper what it is we want to pass as a law for Tobagonians and by extension Trinidadians in this self-autonomy for Tobago. From a certain point in time, now I must say that there were predecessor committees. So this Tobago self-governance or self-autonomy is not new to me, or it has only started last year, September. This has been going on for a long time. And, you know, when you look at it historically, I'm sure Member for Parliament for Couva South, Mr. Inder Singh, would have probably given some of the history where from 1977, certainly you had movements being made in the parliament with the late Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson. He himself moved a motion, and so since 1977 coming forward, this discussion has been going on. What has happened is that the discussions over this period of time, I want to say about 40 years, it has not really captured the pulse of Tobagonians. So when you speak to Tobagonians, what they're saying is that by and large, you know, there are snippets of what they want in self-governance or self-autonomy being captured in what the parliament is producing. 1996 or thereabouts, you would have had a debate, and then you would have had the present Tobago House of Assembly bill being passed as law, etc., etc. And it has been going forward. You have had different parties, different incarnations of movements coming out of Tobago and therefore engaging in this discussion in a deep way. If we fast track, you would have had 2013 with the partnership government putting forward proposals. Then you would have had 2015 into 2016. Then you would have had 2018. Then you would have had 2020. And now we are in 2021. Sorry, not 2020, 2018 coming into 2020. We had an election. So at the time of election, that predecessor committee would have been dissolved as well. We in this committee would have inherited a lot of the literature which came from what took place before. A significant change occurred in Tobago, and I say significant not because it suits me politically. I say significant because what you had was that you had Tobagonians going out to vote in the Tobago House of Assembly local government election. And what took place on January 25th was that you had 6 going in one direction and the other 6 going in the other. And therefore you have a house, the assembly is now equally drawn between 2 opposing parties, the PNM and the PDP. What does that mean? Well, I don't need to explain that to you all because and Tobagonians and Trinidadians, what has happened is that, what does it mean is immaterial at this point. What has happened is that you now have, a house which is cannot, there's no presiding officer. There's no chief secretary being able to be drawn, all of these things. Now, is another debate as to whether or not that is accurate, because the UNC, we have put forward that as a matter of law, the standing orders between the Tobago House of Assembly supplemented by the standing orders of the House of Representatives, the Parliament. They basically provide for instances like this, which is the drawing of lots. So that debate took place. We put forward our legal position that there is law on the books which would solve a situation like that. What you do have, however, is that the PNM is not abiding by that law. And so as it stands is that you don't have proper representation from the assembly in Tobago. What took place thereafter was that you had a Tobago Amendment Bill, which was brought to the Parliament, if I remember correctly, February of this year, 2021. And in March, I believe it is the 9th of March or thereabouts, that bill was debated and it was passed by a simple majority. Another factor which we in the UNC oppose, because what you are doing by way of that Tobago Amendment Bill is saying that you're increasing the amount of districts from 12 to 15. And so with that now, you're going to direct the Elections and Boundaries Commission, right, which is our election entity, who are responsible for drafting the boundaries and other associated laws and procedures. And so that in itself as well was passed in March. But what the government did was that they said that they would hold their hands. Now, number one, if there's law to provide for the breaking of that tie in Tobago, why is there a need for the Tobago Amendment Bill, which now, I want to say, arbitrarily goes to 15. Now, the government has been saying that, no, it is not an arbitrary figure of 15, because they are of the view that when there was consultations, and again, I go back to the predecessor committee, albeit that committee report was not approved by the Parliament, they conveniently drew on something which they claim to exist in the stakeholder consultation, saying that they wanted 15 districts. Now, we know that the EBC, the Elections and Boundaries Commission, is the authority or the entity charged with determining how many electoral districts and the boundaries, not the fact that somebody says they want 10 or 12 or 15. I mean, I am the member of Parliament for Chaguanas West. I would think that my constituency is the largest populated constituency. I want to have Chaguanas West probably drawn into 2, because, at the end of the day, you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the fact that how much persons can you represent. So I just use that as an example, not that I literally want it. I'm saying that if I am in charge of, a district of 45,000 people, because that is the numbers for Chaguanas West, you can imagine that I am saying now, hold on, I don't think this seat should be one seat to cover this large geographical district and population. I want it to be 2 seats. It's too much work. I want it to be 2 seats. It just does not work like that. What they did was they passed that bill. And as though you're holding what I like to say, the sword of Damocles, right, over the heads of Tobagonians and Trinidadians, but mostly Tobagonians. Against that backdrop, you now start to say, okay, Tobagonians, here what I'm going to do. I'm going to push forward. I want you to help me. I'm going to push forward with self-autonomy now. I want to talk about that discussion. And knowing fully well that if that self-autonomy does not go in the direction that you want it to, you will just simply revert to your Tobago Amendment Bill and you will proceed with election with 15. You're just really holding the people to ransom. How could you do something like that? And you are negotiating with people, telling them that, look, this is what you all want. We are telling you, we will give it to you. And you're using that as a campaign purpose. Getting back again to your question, all that is really leading up to the answer that you're probably seeking. Why don't we support? Well, it is very simple. When there was a virtual consultation, and mind you, it is United National Congress, I want to lay that on the record because you will not get anybody else to say otherwise. The truth of the matter is that it was the UNC members in this Joint Select Committee who called for immediate moves to go to consultation with the people of Tobago. And the reason for that was because you were hearing a lot of discussions taking place in the Tobago forum and the Tobago environment. Since this January elections, Tobago House of Assembly elections, you were hearing a lot of Tobagonians speaking out that, this present scenario where one group of persons are of the view that you can break the deadlock by drawing lots according to the standing orders and what have you. And you had another group, namely the PNM, saying no, and they went to the parliament and with a simple majority say, no, we're going to cut up Tobago into 15 districts now. They were saying that they wanted to make sure that they don't have to suffer this fate time and again, because these issues were now real life issues. They had crystallized in a manner where they were all now very conscious about what their rights were as Tobagonians.
Well, Mr. Rambally,
against that backdrop, that we, UNC members, Member John, Member Anderson and myself asked to go to consultation. The consultation was a far, far, far cry away from what you would expect as consultation, not only with Tobagonians, by any democratic standard. The consultations was just a meager fraction of what you would expect in consultations. So how can you say that what the PNM has provided or produced to the parliament as the self-autonomy bill in any way properly reflects the majority or the will of Tobagonians? And that is the reason why the UNC had a problem going into the debate, meaning that, not that we were not ready for the debate, but we had a problem that this is how you were moving in a hasty manner. Why not capture the will of the Tobagonians by way of consultation? And again, I remind you, that's why I have taken this long-winded route to answer the question, because consultation is a democratic, it is a fundamental right that each person in the Caribbean is entitled to when you have laws of this nature being progressed through the parliament. So when these representatives go to the parliament, they must have already behind them a backing that, look, in my representative capacity, I am confident that the consultation with my constituents, and likewise Tobagonians in this case, they have all been consulted. And what we have to do now is to debate how are we going to better this piece of law, which was debated with Tobagonians, and now it is a matter of making it into law. So there's a process, and the process has not been properly pursued by the UNC, the PNM, and the UNC is ensuring that, look, if you are going to lay something in the parliament, and mind you, the reason why we are required in this one is because of the very nature of the bill. The very nature of the law requires us, this constitutional amendment bill, a Tobago Island government bill, but particularly the constitutional amendment bill requires a 3/4 support, majority support. And therefore, if you are going to pass laws like that, which requires 3/4 support, it shows how important this piece of law is. And you don't just dream it up in the night. You don't go with your own instinctive gut feeling. You have to go with the fact that it already represents the will of the people. And here it is now. I am going to debate it as a law. And therefore, you will pass that. But as it stands now, not even the PNM can say properly that this and safely that this represents the will of the people. What they have been saying is that how long are you going to talk? How long are you going to have consultation? But you did not have proper consultation on this instance.
But Mr. Rambally,
sorry, yes.
Mr. Rambally, we had Hochoy Charles here on the program, and it seems to me that there's two separate things going on. One is autonomy for Tobago, and a separate one is with regard to the votes in Trinidad and Tobago, or the election in Tobago. And I think Mr. Hochoy Charles, who seemed to be one of the chief architects in drawing up autonomy for Tobago, he's more interested in Tobago gaining its autonomy, right? And it seemed to be a mix-up with them throwing into the mortar the election with, you know, the 15 seats and the 6. But why are we not focusing on the main goal that Tobago wants, which is autonomy? You know, and not mix it up with the 6 tie and then the 15 seats. You know, why is that?
Well, I want to say that Mr. Hochoy Charles is right, which is why I was going through the long-winded route to point out that the hasting of the PNM to pass these bills is really on account of an election. So he is right. There are two things. One is an election, and one is autonomy, and he wants to talk autonomy. And in terms of autonomy, this is where we are saying that the people of Tobago are saying that what you are presenting as a bill purportedly to give autonomy to Tobagonians, it just simply doesn't do that. So against that backdrop, what is there for the UNC to do in a scenario like that? Go to the parliament and say, well, you know what? We don't know anything about Tobagonians, you know. We know there's a law to be debated in the parliament, and we are hell-bent on debating that law. And
but Mr. Rambally,
yes,
with the 3 people you have in the GSC, right? Now, Tobago is looking for, well, the chief architect, Hochoy Charles, with others, are looking for certain things for Tobago with respect to autonomy.
Yes.
Okay? Now, in the GSC, with your 3 individuals as part of the GSC, right? Why can't those things be put on the table and quickly? Now, the chairman of the Joint Select Committee is it Camille Regis Robinson?
Correct.
Right. So Camille Regis Robinson has just released a letter indicating that they're now going to give them 2 weeks in order for them to go back to the people of Tobago to find out what the people want. But am I not correct that a few weeks ago, when the letter was sent to Hochoy Charles and others, they were asking the government for 2 weeks in order for them to look over the documents so they could come back with them, you know, and have put their ideas on the table? Did I miss something?
Right. That no, you didn't miss anything. That is absolutely correct. Your recall of factual events, they are indeed correct. When the committee was sitting, the Joint Select Committee, led by Ms. Camille Robinson Regis as chairperson, had virtual consultations. It was held on the 30th of April and on the 1st of May. 2 days limited to virtual consultations with possibly 16 persons, if that many. And then you would have had a survey, a prepared survey, originating from the Secretariat of the Parliament in conjunction with the committee. And that is what you had feedback with respect to. A total number of 195 persons would have given feedback by way of both this consultation I'm talking about and meaning the virtual consultation as well as the survey.
So let me pause you for 1 minute. You mean 195 people out of 60,000 people in Tobago?
Well, the 195 people also include a few Trinidadians, I'm sure about that. So it's not even
So they just got
195
195 people from Trinidad and Tobago. From Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And yes, and so what happened? So I'm just giving you an idea that this is what took place. When the UNC members, what we did was that we wrote a letter because we raised it orally and we were denied. We wrote a letter capturing that whereas we had first called for going to consultation, we were now saying, hold on, we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? We are not saying hold on for 10 years. We are saying hold on, there may be better days ahead. And we need to be satisfied that we have captured people. Listen, Trinidad and Tobago, there is no secret. If anybody has doubts about whether or not people have devices and they can log on virtually and access devices, the PNM's own information, their own statistics show that children in homes do not have devices. And what they started to do was they started to call on corporate TNT, right, in Trinidad and Tobago, corporate citizens to basically assist in getting devices for people of standard 5. Well, certainly the examination classes. I just use that as a tangential reference to say that it shows that people are affected during the pandemic, and it is not as easy as saying, hey, like how I'm sitting at my home now, and I can have this interview with you on Zoom and all of these things. Not everybody has access to this. And do you know that in homes that actually has devices, the children themselves are using it for schoolwork? So when you say you said 2 days to have virtual consultations and you're not getting any feedback, couldn't it just simply be that you have a duty? You are the one with the resources. The parliament has the resources. The people in government has the resources. Can't you say that we will now expand this consultation so that we ensure that we could reach out to the people? And in just a few weeks, you may have a return. I don't know, but we're hearing the Prime Minister talking about it up to today, that you're going to have some semblance of opening in certain sectors and whatever. There may be a time not so far ahead, even in this year, that you can facilitate both virtual and our traditional town hall meetings that will be socially distanced and even, you know, in semi-open air and atmosphere and all of these things. So there was not the proper consultation. And when the members who were in fact the political leaders came at the virtual consultation on the 30th of April, they said, okay, they had these, well, first of all, every single one of them, including those, I challenge anyone from the Tobago drawn people, right, or the PNM, sorry, the Tobago drawn PNM personnel to come and say that they themselves didn't come before that consultation and say that they were disappointed with the draft that was presented to them. They all indicated on the first day of consultation that there was disappointment in what they were seeing in black and white. All of them, even the Tobago PNM drawn personnel from the assembly and otherwise. So that Tobago PNM they themselves agreed. So Hochoy Charles was the first one. He said this was a total deviation and a violation of the work that was carried out by predecessor committees and even the political parties, which, you have to give him credit for that up to this stage, he is very vocal in terms of what he has been charting and trying to be the architect of for self-autonomy for Tobago. So that was Hochoy Charles. Dr. Angus, a lot of Anselm, Dr. Angus, and then you had a couple others who came from the PDP, Mr. Fali Augustine, Dr. Faith Israel. I could go on and on with the names. It is all there. You just have to go on the Parliament channel and look for the Tobago, the Joint Select Committee's report into Tobago self-autonomy. It is all attached. So these people said they were disappointed and they made recommendations. Having made those recommendations, the committee said that, look, not to worry, we will continue two things. One, we will continue consultations. And two, as we continue with consultations, we are going to take these, recommendations from you all and revise the existing provisions that we are catering here now in black and white. You know what they did? On the 1st of June, at 8:06 p.m., they emailed the political leader of these parties, Hochoy, Charles, Farley, Augustine, etc., etc. 8:06 p.m. They themselves said that, and not me. And they said that when they were emailed this document on that night, at that hour, they were invited to a meeting on the 2nd of June, asking to attend this meeting at the request of the Joint Select Committee at 3 p.m. So they all have not had a chance to study any of the documents. And even if they did read the documents, and they said they did, but they wanted some more time, they also said that, look, in light of what was taking place with the lack of consultation, they need to go and consult with their people and their supporters to be able to get something. And that was denied. For the life of me, I can't understand on what basis would you deny that. And not only were the 3 UNC members who were saying, no, we need to give them the time, you had one independent senator at the time of the writing up of the report from the Joint Select Committee. You had one independent senator saying that is one concern that he had. Why could we not have given them the time that they were asking for, at least to solicit their comments? So yes, they have been asking for time. You go on and you rush through this thing in the parliament, make a whole set of bacchanal over something which is very critical and important for Tobagonians. And then at the end of it, you are now coming to say that the position is we will allow people to give their comments. That is not how consultation works. There's a difference between an extension of time, mind you. So these parties were asking for an extension of time because they want to ensure they have their voices heard. But that is not the equivalent of consultation. Consultation means verily that. You have to go to the people.
Right. So, Mr. Rambally, Diana, Tommy, and Gary, you guys can jump in at any time. Mr. Rambally, what is it going to take? What is it going to take? What type of autonomy that the UNC is looking at that they can vote for this bill, for this autonomy bill for Tobago? What is the UNC looking at to say, listen, we will be happy if we see something like this with respect to the bill and autonomy for Tobago? I mean, you guys have an idea of something that you guys think that you guys can vote for.
Yes,
what does that thing look like?
In fact, we had, when I say we, the UNC with the partnership, era, which was 2010 to 2015, had put forward documents, had put forward drafts of what we wished to have for self-autonomy, so 2013. So something resembling that was something that we would say, well, okay, it sort of makes sense. But I want to say it is not that is what the UNC wants at this point in time. When you have passage of time and you have people's political status hanging in the balance as it is now because of what has taken place in the THA, it creates something within the society that they begin to see things with a different perspective. And they have all said, not the UNC and not Dinesh Rambally, they in Tobago, they have all said, Hochoy, Charles and others, that all of the work that was being done by, starting from Mr. Robinson come forward, but at least in the last 5 years or so, what they indicated was that what was reflected was not what they spoke about in consultations for self-government. So what does the UNC want? It's not a matter of a draft that we want. We want to know that the Tobagonians themselves and the Trinidadians, but I haven't reached that part with the consultation with Trinidad, the Tobagonians have to have proper say. Listen, what does it mean when you go to consult? It means that the majority of the population must be aware of their rights, and they must be aware of how their rights are going to be changed. Because right now they do enjoy rights under the Tobago House of Assembly Act, and they do enjoy rights under the Constitution. So they must understand that how is it that things are going to change for them. And they will say this makes no sense. They will say that I am happy with this. I think it could go much further, but I am pleased that this is a step in the right direction. Please proceed. And some of them will say, well, okay, this is not what we had in mind. Whether it be financial provisions, whether it be in terms of, qualifying their legal status. A lot of Tobagonians are of the view that the very definition that is given to Tobago is not something that they are pleased with. So that is what makes them feel. They have said that they feel as though they are leeches on Trinidad, and they do not like that they are branded like that. They do not like that they feel like that. So can you imagine just the definition for Tobago is something which they want to see changed. So to answer your question, what does the UNC want? It is very simple. Have proper consultations and let the Tobagonians speak, and let Trinidad be part of the consultations as well, because what affects Tobago will affect Trinidad as well. And the UNC will be taking that on board. We will have a better sense of whether we are passing a law which is for the people. We as parliamentarians can only pass laws which is drawn from the will of the people. So to start with, if it does not reflect the will of the people, where are we really going with this? I want to tell you that earlier today, I'm just trying to find it on my phone. You are right in talking about Camille Robinson-Ridgey's giving 2 weeks. But I want to say that we have concern about that 2 weeks, and therefore we had to issue our own press release. So I don't know if you would have seen that, but our press release was dated this morning, well, today, 3rd of July. Too little, too late. And what we have said was that the leaders of the Tobago parties all indicated that they needed more time to meaningfully comment on the bills. So this is drawn from Camille Robinson-Ridgey's press release, right? And what we said is that consultation is a process where meaningful comments would have been undertaken, where constructive and interactive discussions would have helped to narrow the issues and tackle the contested provisions in a healthy atmosphere. What we also went on to state that is that we take exception to the idea that Trinidadians are not extended a similar courtesy. We really feel strongly about this. Trinidadians must be part and parcel of this discussion. Tobagonians hold this near and dear to their hearts, and we must make sure that it represents their will. But that doesn't mean that that is done to the exclusion of Trinidadians. So we have said that we take exception to the idea that Trinidadians are not extended a similar courtesy of an invitation to help tweak the finalized proposals. While in a bill such as this, it is important to understand that Tobago takes center stage. Interests in the affairs of Tobago, as these two islands are still very much one nation. This simple fact should not be overlooked in any zealous attempt at damage control. And that is what, with the greatest respect to Ms. Camille, yes.
But MP Rambally, isn't that part of the problem when Tobago looks at Trinidad, in that Trinidad still wants to control how Tobago run their business? In that Tobago is saying, listen, we want to run our business, right? We are trying to get our own autonomy. And here you are saying that, your party is still saying that we want Trinidadians involved in what's happening in Tobago. But Tobago is telling me that we had enough of Trinidad running Tobago. We want to be able to run our own, we want to be able to run our own island.
No. Respectfully, I want to say that I think maybe I have not articulated it properly. We are talking about consultations, you know. There's no way that consultation with Trinidad will lead to Trinidadians.
Well, the Trinidadians don't really know what Tobagonians want. Tobagonians know what they want, but Trinidadians can't tell Tobago what they want.
No. This is not about Trinidad telling. How could consultation with Trinidad result in Trinidad telling Tobago what they want? I feel to appreciate that logic.
But isn't consultation part of the process?
You correctly? I don't know, sorry, am I reading you correctly?
But listen,
what I'm articulating and what you are saying is chalk and cheese. Am I hearing you properly?
All right, it's consultation.
How can consultation with Trinidadians result in Trinidad telling Tobagonians what they want? What Tobagonians want for Tobagonians is what they want. What Trinidadians want is to be consulted. Do you understand the concept of consultation?
Yeah, of course I do. So
I don't think so. With the greatest respect to you, I don't think you appreciate what consultation means.
No, that's okay. But listen.
No, that's not okay. Because it means that this debate, this little discussion we are having, is really going on a pathway which does not represent what is taking place in both countries.
Well, listen, you have an opinion, right? And I have an opinion. And I am giving you my opinion with respect to what you indicated.
So your
Right?
opinion is that if we consult with Trinidadians will tell Tobagonians how they must feel about self-autonomy?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
When the JSC consults with Trinidadians, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't part of that consultation end up in the document with respect to autonomy for Tobago?
Of course, and it ought to end up there.
So there you go. That's exactly what I'm saying. So you have just proven my point.
Your point is that Trinidadians, if consulted, will tell Tobagonians how they must feel about self-autonomy.
But listen, if there is consultation and Trinidadians are consulted, the JSC is going to consult with Trinidadians, and Trinidadians have an opinion with respect to Tobago, and some of those opinions end up in the document. That means to say that due to that consultation,
no, it doesn't mean that. It cannot mean that. And I'll tell you
what does it mean then?
That.
What does it mean?
Right. What it means, we still, self-autonomy still means, are you talking about independence or are you talking about self-autonomy? Because
self-autonomy.
If you're talking about self-autonomy under
independence is totally different. I'm talking about self-autonomy for Tobago.
If you're talking about self-autonomy within a unitary state, it means that it is still going to be Trinidad and Tobago. What you will have to do is that Trinidadians might have a view about some of the provisions relating to possibly finance, relating to possibly, look, I understand that you all are giving...
and that is the government, and that is the government, and that will be the government. The government will still have certain says in Tobago, and Tobago is saying, yes, we don't have a problem with certain things that the government have a say, and I understand that. And I am saying that's fine.
Yeah, that is fine. And I think we are ad idem on that. But insofar as to suggest that consultation with Trinidadians is something that would result in more control over Tobago.
I never said that. I never said that. I never said that.
And if the views of Trinidadians are taken on board, it may very well result. Remember, with a unitary state, you want to have harmonious relations. When people right now are talking about they feel as though they are being controlled, what you have to do is that you're giving self-autonomy, yes. What that self-autonomy is to be dictated, particularly by the people of Tobago. But remember, you're still going to want to have harmonious relations beyond whatever is passed in the parliament. And to make
and that's the government.
Harmonious relations.
And that is the government.
Consultations with Trinidadians. Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit.
But then that's the government. The government is going to have harmonious relationship with the individuals who are running Tobago.
No, how could it be limited to the government? It has to be people.
No, it can't be limited to the government, answer. It cannot be limited to the government.
But Gary, what I'm saying is that, and this is part of the problem, when you listen to Hochoy Charles, you got to listen to, I personally, right, Hochoy Charles is on the ground in Tobago. And there are certain things that he says, and he says this is part of the problem. The part of the problem is that Trinidad wants to tell Tobago what is best for Tobago.
But Ansem, listen to what Hochoy Charles also said. The government played with his information that was submitted. Okay? They played with the information that was submitted. He said what they needed was already submitted. They already spelled out miles down the road what they wanted. So the government flip-flopping with these documents and seems to be editing it at some point, and shuffling here and there, like some kind of chess game when the people already spelled out what they wanted.
And Gary, I agree with that. I'm saying that Tobago already told, led by Hochoy Charles, they told the government, this is the thing that we are looking for with respect to autonomy for Tobago.
What I would like to get done.
The government decide that, you know what? Some of these things, we don't even want to deal with it. Right? The government decide that.
But
right?
Maybe I could interject a little bit, right? Because maybe I think we are on the same page, but I suspect it may be that in arriving at that point where we want to identify or understand what Mr. Hochoy Charles is saying, they have made it clear, Mr. Hochoy, Charles, and others, that the problem that they continue to not, I don't want to put it, let me put it this way, the way they continue to feel, and some of the problems that they continue to have, they believe, is as a result of, when they say Trinidad, it is because they feel that if you have a cabinet in Port of Spain that is largely drawn from members of parliament of Trinidad, that automatically translates more into the will of Trinidad and not necessarily reflects or gives credence to what happens in Tobago or acknowledges what ought to take place in Tobago.
Yes, what Tobago wants.
Right. But what I am drawing on is not that. We are on a different page. When I say consultation with Trinidad, remember, if you are dealing with a unitary state, there's going to be life even after self-autonomy. And what is going to happen is that you're talking about the sharing of resources. You're talking about, you know, the ability of the Tobago Assembly now, whatever you call it, if you call it assembly, whatever name you give to it, that they are now going to be drawing a certain proportion of Trinidad's resources. Nothing is wrong with that.
But Mr. Rambally, you see, it is not, Tobago is not saying that. Tobago is not saying join Trinidad resources. Tobago is saying these are the resources. You have a line. Up to this line is Trinidad, this line is Tobago. Resources on this side here belongs to Tobago. They are not drawing on the resources of Trinidad because this is Tobago. These resources here are coming from Tobago. And they're saying these are the resources that we want to benefit from.
But there's still a marriage. There's still a marriage in place.
Gary, yes, there's a marriage still. But what they're saying is that these are the resources that we are drawing from. These are from Tobago. It is no longer belongs to Trinidad. It's now Tobago. And Tobago are utilizing these resources. That's why they talk about that line. I mean,
yeah, but I agree with that, you know. I am not on that. I am talking about if we're dealing with why, you know, remember we sort of parted ways with when I indicated that we in the UNC are saying that there must be consultation, which is widespread, which while particularly based in Tobago, must also include Trinidad. And I think that is the parting ways. So I'm just trying to clear up that.
Yeah, the consultation is not law. The consultation is trying to get the understanding of what is what is needed and what is desired.
No, yes, of course. If both, just like how Trinidadians, Tobagonians are saying that, if I don't know that all Tobagonians are saying draw that line, right? But I do know that they are saying that what they and properly so, properly so. If it
Charles is saying that. Charles is saying that. Dr. Winsford James is saying that. Dr. Vanish James is saying that. Sybil Net is saying that. And these people are the people that have a stake in Tobago. And that's what they are saying.
So right now, whether we like it or we don't like it, I am saying, and this is, you know, as part of the UNC, we continue to be a unitary state. And if we are to arrive at that point, which would be satisfactory to all people, including Tobagonians, it is not a matter of if you consult with Trinidadians, it means that Trinidadians is going to tell Tobago, you take this and you take that. It is a consultation because we all appreciate that we are drawing from the same set of resources. And therefore, what you would want to have is that Tobagonians get what they believe to be a fair share. I cannot say that if you draw a line and it is as easy as that. That is not what I am holding on to in this discussion. I am saying that if that is what they're asking for, that is part of the consultations. But you never know. If you have consultations with Trinidad, there may be something that when you get, listen, when you have consultation with widespread, you know, cross-section of society, what you may be amazed by finding is when these people come forward with their ideas that they actually solve the problem before it becomes a problem in Parliament. And that is why you should have consultation, because we inherited a situation where we are all Trinidad and Tobago. And it cannot be that we continue, well, I love Trinidad and Tobago and we enjoy this name Trinidad and Tobago. But when it comes down to discussions, that one person, is like if you're in a home, one person in the home might say, look, I don't like what we are doing. I don't like to eat this on an evening. but I will eat it because it sustains me. But the fact that that person has a view now has to be taken on board with the others. When you talk to the others, well, look, this particular person in the home, whether it be a brother or a sister or whatever, doesn't like this. Maybe we should change it. We should change the diet. And the others will be like, that is such a brilliant idea. Can we look at X, Y, and Z? These things are simple. Consultation has very far-reaching implications. But if you don't consult with the entire citizenry or a widespread section, what you are going to do is you are going to create a scenario which does not represent the will of the people. The will of Tobagonians is one thing, but you also have to consult with Trinidad. I am sorry if it is that at any point in time in my previous conversations, I gave a different impression. I am making it clear now, but I know when I debated in the parliament, I was crystal clear about this situation.
MP Rambally,
yes,
can you hold the thought for 1 minute? We got to go for a quick station identification. Stay with us. We got to go for a quick station identification. It's in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. We're going to go for a quick station identification and be right
You're
back.
listening to WZYE 95.9 FM. You are listening to WZYE 95.9 FM, the most influential name in Caribbean radio in the tri-state area. Broadcasting from East Orange, New Jersey, the most influential name in Caribbean radio. WZYE 95.9 FM.
And of course, it's in the village with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM. And gracefully have joined us the MP from Chaguanas West, MP Dinesh Rambally, has gracefully joined us, and we thank him very kindly for taking the time. We are having a very spirited debate.
No, actually, I have to thank you all for this debate, because sometimes when you debate these things and it is limited to the parliament, you can't get in depth like how we are doing this. I mean, this exchange of ideas here is really what I appreciate.
So what I would like to do,
and let me say this. Go ahead, Gary.
What I would like to do is I would like to bring back Dinesh and Hochoy Charles together sometime next week. As one representative from either side, and we could continue this discussion together, and we could use this as an avenue for the consultation that we have both voices at the same time. Mr. Hochoy Charles is participating. I mean, he's the long brilliant scholar and architect of this whole plan. I mean, he has already spelled it out. Is the government really playing the games? I mean, so the consultation should upgrade any additional thing the people of Tobago wants to bring in to this decision making and laws. So I would like to see we do that sometime next week as we get this done. If we could get Mr. Hochoy Charles equipment working.
And Gary and MP Dinesh Rambally, what we want to say, right, is that we like spirited debates. We don't want people to come into the village and we sit down and we talk about
I could pick up that already.
No, to be honest, when you come into the village, it's not a village where you just come in everybody like, even the hosts in this program. Even the hosts in the program just disagree with one another, but we disagree respectfully. We do not disrespect each other's, because somebody's opinion may be different from another's personal opinion, and we can listen, of course, attentively and say, boy, what that person's saying making sense, or what that person is saying, So that's what I was just saying, in that there are times when certain things are said that, I just find that, but MP, let me just try to say, we had Hochoy Charles in here last Thursday night, and after being on the program for like 45 minutes, something came up on his phone telling him that Samsung is going to shut down his phone. It happened twice, so we thought it was just something with his phone. So he came back tonight again, and the same thing happened.
Within 3 minutes.
I don't know,
within 2 minutes or so.
Within 3 minutes. There's something happened. So I mean, we don't want that.
It sounds serious to me, yeah. I mean,
we don't want that.
It sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, we don't want to allege anything in the village, but
we're suspicious.
It seems suspicious, because you don't know now for over an hour and nothing has happened, right? And Hochoy was on for 3 minutes and they kick him out.
So one thing I want to add here
Yes.
is that is it possible that the UNC team can go over to Tobago and have a discussion with the people out there anytime soon? Or how do you want to proceed with that?
Well, what I would let you know is that as part of when you're members of a committee, and I want to say that Senator Jillian John, the Deputy Political Leader of the United National Congress, Mr. Rujunath Inder Singh, MP for Couva South, a senior member, of the Parliament and in the party.
Yeah, I sent
both of
Jolene an
them-
invite. I'm waiting for her to
Sorry?
respond to. Yeah. Anyway,
We'll
go
send
ahead.
Jolene an invite. And MP Rambally, we had Mr. Inder Singh in here too, and we had fantabulous discussions, man. The discussions are going really excellent. You see, and this is what we want because it gives information to the public. You see, we're giving information to the public, and they can decide however they want to, use that information. But we want this information to hear from the people who are actually involved in this.
And the speaker would not be able to muzzle your voice of what has to be said. So I always send a very clear message to them with dealing with this stranded citizen situation that they cannot muzzle me and the speaker has no control over me, that I will say what I have to say. And I want to extend an invitation to all you guys home there to be able to voice your views on this program together with me and Answer me here and Diana and Tommy.
I am very grateful for that, let me say, facility, accommodation, and invite, To answer the question with getting back to Tobago, as members of the committee, and as I was about to say that I really follow the lead of Senator Jillian John and Mr. Inder Singh, MP Inder Singh, and they, of course, have a phenomenal amount of political experience. As you all may know, Ms. John as well was a candidate in Tobago, right? At some point in the elections, and therefore, you could tell the kind of experience. She is from Charlottesville, and she's a Tobagonian, and so I followed their lead, both her and MP Inder Singh. What we did was that we, as part of the committee, you try to participate as much as you can, knowing that, look, at the end of the day, you may have your own views. So you have to give the benefit of the doubt, which I think we all did in terms of moving forward. So sometimes you might have your view on something, but you have to remain in a skeptical critique state, that you must critique something, but you have to be open to the suggestions that will come forward. And so that is what we were doing. And I want to tell you that I was really hell-bent on going to Tobago for the consultations. And it's just that the day before consultations, when I was literally walking out my home to go to the airport to get over to Tobago, the Prime Minister announced, I believe it was the 28th of April, the records will reflect that that is where he started to implement serious measures. The COVID restrictions were now being implemented in a much stricter fashion than before. And they were cutting down the number of flights, I think, to 3 flights a day, between Trinidad and Tobago, etc., etc. What it meant was that we would not, had the luxury of going to Tobago any longer. And so what happened was that we were, due to go to Tobago to join in these consultations, which did not come off the way we thought it would. We thought we would have a hybrid of virtual as well as town hall meetings in Tobago, and we didn't get to have those. And this is why I say that to answer your question, why if the UNC would consider doing that, of course we would consider doing that. We would welcome something like that. I would love to go to Tobago to meet everyone, to talk about these things and have these kind of spirited discussions as well. So that is something that we don't mind doing at all, and we would want to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, man. So, MP Rambally, if you had to send a message to the Prime Minister, what would be your message to the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley?
Very simple. Dr. Rowley, please stop playing politics with the lives of the people of Tobago. They deserve the respect, they deserve the equality that they seek with Trinidadians. They deserve to be a part, considered as a serious part of Trinidad and Tobago, this unitary state that we so love and we enjoy. And it continues to be the pride and the gem of the Caribbean. Dr. Rowley must stop playing games with them. They are not to be used as a political campaigning tool so that the PNM can take control of the Tobago House of Assembly. So that is very simply what I would say to the Prime Minister.
Thank you so very much, sir. It's really appreciated. Diana, Tommy, I don't know if you guys have any other questions for MP Dinesh Rambally.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Mr. Rambally. I heard you say earlier, well, first to begin, if this Tobago situation took 44 years to get to this point, giving it 4 months to get it resolved isn't too much more. But I heard you say earlier that people of the UNC don't know Tobago as well as they should.
Something is wrong with Tommy's mic.
Tommy, your mic getting a lot of bad feedback.
I don't know why, but can you hear me?
It's giving bad feedback. It's really bad. Yeah, there's a little difficulties with his mic. So, Diana, do you have anything?
I just wanted to say to MP Rambally, is it possible that in a state of compromise or bipartisan an approach can be reached so they can proceed to get Tobago to that state of self-government?
The short answer to that is yes. In just by way of elaboration, we maintain an open mind and an open approach to this discussion, to what is before the Parliament at present, as well as to what may not be before the Parliament in black and white. So the answer to that is yes. When we talk about compromise, what we do not want in the UNC is to go about taking steps and marshalling policies or marshalling certain clauses in the legislation which reflect a policy or could give way to some kind of policy which is not what the Tobagonians want. So I think all in due course we can arrive at that stage of the compromise, so long as we know we have on both sides, or I should say on all sides, that we know we have captured the majority will of the people of Tobago. And I think that is really something, if we could do that, sooner rather than later. I don't mean we have to rush it, but I think if we could do it sooner rather than later, what you're going to see is you're going to see a whole society, a whole island, Tobago, really feeling empowered like never before. And therefore, with that spirit of empowerment, they are going to start channeling and charting their own future in terms of things that they feel they could do on their own. And in that, it means that Trinidad could only stand to benefit from something like that. So I would say yes, a state of compromise is good, but we must make sure we have captured what Tobagonians are aspiring to. I am not saying, I do know that some Tobagonians are asking for things that are on the balance, on the scale, can be considered radical. I am not suggesting that if a person who says they want something radical, that is, you must give full weight to that. I am saying that despite a person asking for something which may be considered radical, as opposed to someone asking for something which is halfway on the scale and somewhere lower on the scale, we must hear all of them first.
Exactly.
The majority of those voices.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is what I want to see. That's a show that's all of us want to see that. It's only the government we see that's playing games with this.
Well, I want to say that before, I hope I'm not keeping back the program or keeping you all back, but I want to tell all of you that even in this discussion, despite us having, on certain issues, we seem to be a little bit wary of what the other is saying, meaning that, you're cautious, you want to get it clear, we want to speak out. Obviously, a program like this, and I'm so happy to be part of this program, that all of us, we are aspiring to something despite having different views or different ways in our mind that we think it can be accomplished. But in this discussion alone, I am seeing that the way to move forward is really to try and see whether if you could have that proper consultation, and then you're going to look at a compromise with everyone as to how we move forward.
That is what we want. And I mean, and if you in an open forum with maintaining safe distance and everybody wearing their masks, I see no reason that we cannot carry on a town hall meeting in a decent, diplomatic, constructive way. We could carry a conversation on with that. So I would not say that there's any justified reason that we cannot proceed with a town hall meeting with everybody maintaining their social distances and the proper protocol.
Yes, and of course, if you can't do it immediately because you according to the government, you're guided by a science which is telling you no, now is not the time for enabling that kind of environment.
Well, we have Zoom and Skype also.
Yes, so you have a hybrid, but remember, you must remember that when we are not a society, we are not a first world society as much as we would want to be. We are not. And there are certain things that are cultural that you cannot take for granted. So it is like sometimes you say you can't go and tell the old person down the street that you should not do this. You should not whistle on a morning. You shouldn't. There are certain cultural things that they.
Let's have a Zoom meeting.
Yes, exactly. So the cultural aspect that we must not take for granted and think we can just simply replace it, and that makes us modern all of a sudden, and we replace one for the other. Is this consultation, the town hall meeting? That very town hall meeting is where, as a result of many of those,
it is the key essential thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Main ingredient.
Have come forward, and this is why we are where we are today, because of those said town hall meetings.
So, Mr. MP Dinesh Rambally, we want to thank you for giving us such a wonderful long time, and we had a very, very vibrant discussion. We need to have more discussions like this. Any closing words before you go?
I would say to Trinidad and Tobago that sometimes they say the hour is darkest just before dawn. So even on the issue of that, we have spent a lot of time tonight talking about Tobago self-autonomy. I am confident that we will get there sooner rather than later, if we all put our collective efforts into it. And I made that comment, the hour is darkest before, dawn. Right now we're in a pandemic, and I am not, I think we have been in the United National Congress under our political leader, Mrs. 𝗪𝗪𝘁𝘀𝗽𝗽. We have really been going after the government, holding them to account, because there are a lot of things that we are not satisfied with in terms of their handling of the pandemic. But to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and also interested stakeholders like yourselves and even around the world, all those who have interest in one way or the other in terms of what takes place in Trinidad, and even the discussions surrounding Trinidad and Tobago, I want to say that our position is that we will continue to ensure that we work in the best interests of this Twin Island Republic, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day, the island is the country is protected as best as possible. We need to see COVID pandemic behind us. The virus will continue. We are already aware that the virus will continue to stay in existence in one form or the other. It will mutate, it will do whatever it has to do according to science. But the pandemic itself, we need to see this pandemic behind us. So I want to give the commitment, myself, and on behalf of my political leader and my party, we give the assurance that this is what we are about, at this time.
Mr. Rambally, MP Dinesh Rambally, we want to thank you so very kindly and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much. Thanks again for this opportunity.
That's well. So really sometime we want you guys to come back, keep in mind, and talk to Jolene for us, that we want to bring her on board in this discussion together with Hochoy Charles, and we can flush out the glitches and and everybody's voices can be heard. Diana?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, brother. So, Tommy saying something?
Yeah. Are you hearing me better now?
Nah, no better.
Oh my goodness. Can't
Yeah.
Outside side boy.
So listen, folks. Of course, it's individuals with the dark triplets on WZYE. No. Yeah, individuals with the dark triplets on WZYE 95.9 FM, folks. This has been a long one. This has been a marathon one. We're going to close the program now. Ulrich, I live in Chaguanas, and I don't know that gentleman at all. Ulrich, maybe you live in Chaguanas East. He's in Chaguanas West. But wait now. I thought Ulrich said he was from Chumakak.
A lot of people from Chumakak run to Chaguanas, boy.
Yeah, I don't know, like them fellas fighting to be from Chumakak. Anthony Medford says, great program.
They run away from Chumakak.
Much learned. Thank you and see you next time. Stay safe and wonderful, everyone. Anthony Medford, thank you so very kindly. Rose says, thank you, Mr. Rambally, and good night. Linda says, they don't want we to talk with Hochoy at all. It's plain sabotage. Rose say more sabotage next week. Is there anyone we could complain to? I wonder why they're scared of. Rose says, I wonder why they're scared. I wonder what they're scared of. Why this sabotage whenever Mr. Charles is on this program? We need to hear what Mr. Charles have to say, but they just want to keep us in the dark. Yep. They did some. Linda says they did some serious sabotage to us tonight, boy. We can't even get Mr. Charles. But you really clear up tonight in truth, boy. Let me clear up. Hey, Phantom, any closing words?
I mean, I am happy to know that he clarified what the UNC was looking for in that they're saying the same thing I was saying before I even know about what they were doing. The consultation. That is my point of view. You have to consult with the people of what they want and not muzzle their voices. And I am, I'm very happy and satisfied that he clarified that. I am looking forward that I was continuing this discussion in the near future. We're bringing both sides of the party on board into this discussion. And I would say thank you and good night. Very happy this weekend.
Tommy boy, sorry boys. The feedback they told me is kind of tough.
Yeah, let's put it right in. Yeah, we wanted to have that chance. Let's put a little note or something where you want to say.
Yeah, Tommy, put a note in the chat, Tommy, because we're getting too much feedback from you. Albert Montano says, happy 4th of July. Yes, guys, tomorrow will be 44 years I've been in the United States of America. Right? In the words of Frederick Douglass, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the oceans without the awful roar of its many waters. And folks, I feel good. I'm 50% vaccinated. From where I sit, this is it. The cock on the wall said that's all I like to say, but I've got to go. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent does not work out. And for every 60 seconds of anger, you lose 1 minute of happiness. And folks, since because it's so late, we're going to just have Diana close, and we're going to pick up next Tuesday with one of the hosts, one of the people in the chat closing the program. Go ahead, Diana.
Oh, okay. I felt it poignant tonight. I wanted to do something on gratitude. So I'm doing something on attitude of gratitude. According to the Webster Dictionary, gratitude is simply the state of being grateful. I arrived in the USA back in 1985, 36 years ago, a young, excited lass enrolled in journalism school. My dream was to become the best radio and TV announcer to come out of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados. After a year of studies, which I paid for on my own, and with no financial assistance from my papi, and being told that the world is not ready for my accent by school administrators, I dropped out of school. When I re-enrolled years later, I was steered into management and accounting discipline, of which I acquired a Bachelor of Science. I would be fortunate to get jobs in my field of study, but the jobs also required me to talk to the general public. I soon realized that they were mesmerized by my Bajan Trini twang. I secretly harbored a desire to be that journalist, talk show host, and prayed to my maker to present an opportunity for me to show my skills in journalism. Fast forward. The maker moved knobs on his draft board and aligned me with someone whom he felt would be instrumental in getting me in front of the world. Mr. Selwyn Melville, he put me on stage with some of the greatest talents artists of Trinidad and Tobago. For those opportunities, I express my heartfelt gratitude. Mr. Melville went on to a bit further and introduced me to a man whose purpose and ministry in life, as expressed to me, is to empower individuals. To this fellow Trinbagonian, I am extremely grateful. This African man has given me the autonomy to perform in my capacity as one of the co-hosts on this program. The state of gratitude is one of the most profound states of mind and being a person can feel. To feel gratitude, we acknowledge those things in our life that are good and are foundations to orient us into positive direction. Why is gratitude important? For starters, gratitude can remind you of the positive things in your life. Gratitude is also about thanking others. The simple act of saying thank you shows an appreciation of who they are and what they mean to you. The great thing about gratitude is that it doesn't have a huge material price tag. Give thanks. If someone does something nice for you, be sure to thank them, no matter how small the gesture may seem. It can be those small things that people do for you that can change a bad day into a good day. During this COVID-19 period, we have seen charity bestowed upon those in need in leaps and bounds. To the recipients of charities, don't forget to say thank you. God is our creator and has given us all the various things in our life, including our life itself. Every day you wake up in the morning to live another day due to his grace. If you think that is an alarm clock that wakes you, put one next to a dead body. God bestows everything that is required, that is spiritual experience, guidance, knowledge, to such a seeker, even without asking. To you, Anselm LeBron, I publicly say thank you for giving me this platform to be heard. Thank you for having the faith in me that I was up to par to perform the duties required of me. Thank you for empowering me. To our listening audience, I want to say, display an attitude of gratitude. In this COVID atmosphere, you are able to hear me and understand. Your brain is an electric generator of power. Thank your creator. Your lungs can inhale and exhale 11,000 liters of air every day, even though there's a virus out there that directly affects your lungs. Thank your creator that you can breathe on your own. This is your resident poet, Diana Benskin, aka The Storm, saying Auf Wiedersehen until we meet again. Thank you, Anselm LeBron. Thank you.
And of course, let me say to you, Diana, thank you so very kindly. I appreciate the sentiments. And, you know, part of what this is all about, Diana, is to try to lift other people up, you know. And this is what we try to do in this program here, because I remember, you know, when Gary first came to me. Hey, Gary, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Gary, how did this program start, man? Quickly. I don't remember. How did we start this program? You know, I forget.
I told you what I was doing and try to give you a little insight what was taking place. And you said, sure, you'll go along with it and see what's, you know, how it's going to work out, you know. And you looked into it, and then you realized the difficulty our people was really facing, and it was really a wake-up call to you to really bring to your attention the level of difficulty, I mean, that was taking place. You couldn't believe it, you know, and, you know, we run from there, you know. And, you know, I kind of lost touch with you because I got so engaged with helping our people that I was so buried, you know. I couldn't focus on, you know, anything else, you know, because there was so much issues. You know, seeing all people suffering and crying, and you know, everybody just reaching out to me. I mean, you know, night and day. You know, I was going to bed like all 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, I mean, especially even people like, you know, Takisha and her issues. You know, from A to Z. You know, so I mean, I'm just happy we got started what we're doing here, and the revolution is building, as you see. I deeply appreciate what we can accomplish here. We are giving our people a voice, and it's expanding into something I think that's really great. Look at the above capacity of politicians that consider coming on to our program, and after leaving here, they appreciate the host of the program. They appreciating what we have to say. So let's continue. Full throttle ahead, rapid fire, as I usually say. I'm a little sick today. I kind of had to take some punching to stifle the congestion.
You want this punch today?
I had to take. Well, I know the boys and I used to take the little punching and lime and honey to kind of deal with everything. So I just kind of like to drop that in. It's a Trini thing. I'm a little congested up, but anyway, I really enjoyed the night, and let's continue to build what we're building, man. We're reaching our people. I want to give them a voice, and I want the people of Tobago to understand, not only the politicians, that we're giving them an opportunity here.
Yeah, and of course we had the young man, is
Dinesh.
And Cindy, right?
Cindy. I was listening. I was listening to the young lady.
Yeah. We appreciate them so very kindly, and again, that was true to Diana, who's like picking out these fantabulous people, and that's what the agenda here is, to bring people into the program so we could highlight people. We could highlight the things that they're doing that they may not be highlighted in their own hometown. You see, so we think that that's some of the things we can do. We can highlight people and bring people on, bring the politicians who want to come on, whether you're PNM, UNC, ILP, come on, and this is in the village, man. When you come in the village, of course, when you come in the village, you ain't gonna get no softball.
So
fling them.
Everybody's equally. Everybody's treated equally.
Yeah, fling them, man. As Duke said, fling, man, fling. So, folks, we're gonna go out tonight with Preacher. I pledge. So, everybody, have a fantabulous rest of the weekend, and we'll see you all same WZYE time, same WZYE channel. Later, let's go. Come, Preacher. What say, Gary?
Talk to Watson about the situation with Hochoy. See what he can do to assist them until probably we can send a device. But in the meantime, see what we can get him.
Yeah. I'll talk to my engineer friend.
All right, thanks.
Okay, cool. There we go.
She needs me. I will work hard. You abuse her when she Now you have to sacrifice out your flag.